Vikas, can you unmute yourself, please?
Is it okay? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can now.
All right, shall we start then?
Yeah, I think we should start.
Okay. So I'm going to do this. So can you see the slides moving, Jamil, Sadia?
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, that's fine. All right, everyone. Welcome to this CESR Made Easy event. My name is Dr. Mohammed Waqas, but you can call me Waqas. So I have recently got my CESR application successful, and a lot of people have been asking me for a long time if I can provide some advice on the process, which is quite lengthy and complicated. So I was just waiting for the results so that I can give some authentic piece of advice. And that's why we are here today. What we'll be doing this today's event is mainly to answer your queries, and we'll go through the process one by one from the start to the end, and we'll be taking your questions and try to answer them as much as we can. Helping me today are two of my co-hosts, Dr. Sadia, who's a pediatrician. I'll let her introduce herself. Dr. Sadia.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Sadia. I am also currently going through my CESR. Nearly, I would say 70% of the bit is done. I think I had been helping loads of people with CESR in different specialties here as well in our hospital. So I think practically I know the in and outs of CESR, but it's just that I think I'm taking longer time to do it. So I'm going to help Dr. Waqas with admitting people in, and if there are any questions, I can just let Dr. Waqas know that we have to go through them.
Thank you, Dr. Sadia. And Jamil is also here. Jamil, can you please?
Hi, I'm Jamila. Most of you probably already know me. I'm also a pediatrician, basically. I'm just for now. I'm just helping Vikas as a moderator, but I'm not much into the CESR route at the moment. I'm basically chair of the SAS committee, RCPCH SAS committee. So what I could possibly do is just take your questions or remarks or anything which is interesting and needs to be put through to college. I might be able to take that through. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sadia and Jamil. So I was just texting because some of our colleagues are not about having difficulties in entering. So I've sent them a direct link in the group. So try with that link and you will be able to enter. Okay, so let's start. So today's discussion will talk through the whole process. What is CESR? Where to start from? What resources do you need? What support do you need from your trust? quantity of the evidence, quality of the evidence, the myths associated, the frequently asked questions. So why we are starting from the start, because there are lots of um, doctors. So there's a wide variation of skill mix. I was looking at through your registration tickets, and I found that we have a great variation of skill mix of doctors ranging from um, who have just started to working in an NHS with to those doctors who have years of experience, and they are also in different stages of working on their application. So we have to start from the start, but I'll make sure that I will not take much time on the things which you already know. So what is CESR? Yeah, so it's quite a complicated process. Simply defined, is an alternative pathway to work as a consultant in the UK, plus minus internationally. So this pathway leads you to a destination where you can work as a consultant. And obviously, CESR means equivalence. So that means that you have to be equivalent to the consultant who has been successful through the traditional training pathway. So they will be assessing you on the standards against the CCT. And how can you be equivalent to a CCT doctor or consultant? By providing evidence. Obviously, whatever you have to do is through the is to provide the evidence. You cannot just say that I have done this and that. So you have to prove yourself. And how can you prove that? Through providing evidence. And what evidence will you give? That's the main question. You will basically be giving evidence of the domains, in which, in other words, in simple words, are the areas, different areas in pediatrics and other specialties where you have to prove yourself so you have to make yourself familiar with the domains. There are 11 domains of pediatrics competencies. So the sooner you get familiar with them, the better it is. So professional values, communications, procedures, patient management, quality improvement, research, education and training, safeguarding, and patient safety. Maybe I missed one or two, but we'll go through them. So first thing is that to make yourself familiar with all these domains. They are readily available on the college website and GMC website as well. All right, so where to start from? So as I said, we have a wide range of skill mix, people, doctors from different backgrounds who have different magnitude of previous experience. And some of you have not even started, and some of them are in the advanced stages of their CESR application. So the question which comes to your mind first is where to start from. So the best thing and the first thing is to read the specialty specific guidance. That's the most important document. It is easily available on the GMC website as well as the college website. I have also attached a link of this document to the invitation or to this meeting. So go through this specialty specific guidance for pediatrics. That is very, very important. Second document which you have to go through is the curriculum for pediatrics. So curriculum keeps changing, although not that frequently, but it keeps changing. So since you have to prove yourself against the standards of a CCT, so you make sure that you go through the curriculum right from the start to the end. Now, these 3 steps in simple will lead you to the CESR: collection of evidence, compilation of evidence, and then ultimately submission. So if I will let you know that how did I start what I did is, after going through this 2 documents of the specialty specific guidance and curriculum, I made 11 folders in my laptop of these 11 domains, because that way you will let you will get to know that what you already have, because you might not know, I bet you will not know that you already have at least 25% of the evidence, and most of us don't know that where it is. It may be somewhere in your diary, so you have to go back and explore that, your diaries, your portfolio, the previous documents. So it's not only the full process you have to collect. So you might have some of your evidence, and I will tell you how you can explore that and make a use of that to make it available. So I was talking about how did I start. So let me see if I can share my screen. I'm just changing this. Okay, 1 second. I'm just so can you see that folder?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so that is that is my drive, where I have made these folders of whatever evidence I had and whatever evidence I need to collect. So most of these folders which you are seeing on my screen, they were empty to start with. So if you can see, DOPS, trainees feedback, teaching, communication, clinic list, meetings, management, ACATS, research. So most of these folders were empty when I started, and I didn't have much to start with. So, but these helped me a lot to reflect on the fact that what I have and what else do I need further. Otherwise, you will keep moving to and fro between different webinars and meeting, just confused that what actually do you need. So for example, if I open one of these folders, now they are full because my application is I've done with my application. So but when I started, there's nothing much content in that. So can you see that? So for example, I open one of these files. So this is I cannot open each of them because there are some sensitive information in that as well. So for example, this is a log of one of the procedures which I used from my previous hospital where I was working. So it has nothing much in that, but still I kept I use that and try, and it worked. So you must be having some of these kind of things in your diary, if you are I mean, if you have a good background of experience in pediatrics, and you can try getting things retrieved from your previous workplaces, and I will come to that how you can do that. Similarly, if you see, I'll open one more of these. So for example, these are the a development log and reflection of a looked after clinic, which I did. Yeah. So you can compile, you can make your evidence and start compiling it in different folders and keep filling it. And that way you will get to know that what have you already done and what else do you need to do. Can you still see my screen? I'm back to the presentation.
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, good. All right. So what risks? So portfolio. Yeah, I was talking about the portfolio. So most of the colleagues and friends, they ask me that why do we need a portfolio? So is it compulsory? Is it mandatory? So I'll tell them that so portfolio is although it is not compulsory, not mandatory, but it is very helpful. It's kind of a checklist. So imagine that your wife or your partner have asked you to go out and bring monthly grocery from the supermarket. Although you remember everything that what to bring, but you cannot remember everything. So you make a checklist and you go and explore different sections of the supermarket and collect and organize into different bags and then bring home. So it's similarly, the portfolio gives you a checklist that what do you actually want to prove yourself against the standards of the CCT. So if you don't have a portfolio, it is better to get one. However, it is not compulsory. So you can still get a lot of evidence without using a portfolio, and I'll show you how. All right, so resources you need, just a second. Yeah, so the resources you need, these are the tools you will be needing to develop your application. The first thing is the eligibility. I'll quickly go through that. So eligibility, it's a bit complicated. So the GMC says that you have to have a specialist qualification. However, they don't elaborate that. They don't give a list of acceptable postgraduate qualification. But most of our the qualifications from Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, they are accepted if you have one. So my postgraduate qualification was FCPS from Pakistan, and they accepted that. If you don't have a postgraduate qualification, there is another thing which you can have, which is a 6 months recognized training. That also they don't elaborate on what actually is that. So that is probably the training experience in the UK. Okay, what else do you need? You need a middle grade job, preferably working in NHS. Now, again, that is not a compulsory thing. And you can theoretically, it's not written anywhere that you have to work in NHS to prove yourself as a doctor of as a CCT equivalent, but working in NHS gives you opportunity to interact with the doctors who are in training, and because the format of training is different of course what we have been doing. Background experience, again, you need to have a background experience, although that is also not written anywhere. So, but I believe that most of the doctors who are thinking about doing a CESR pathway already have a good background experience of working in pediatrics. Portfolio, I've already mentioned portfolio. So if you don't have a portfolio, try subscribing to one. If you already have a membership of the Royal College, you just have to give an additional fee for that, and that you can get the tax reimbursed at the end of the year. Then you need some IT equipment. Of course, you need a laptop, printer, software to redact your evidence. So whatever evidence you have, which contains the patient identifiable data such as the patient names, date of birth, and other details, you need to anonymize that data, and you need to have a software for that. That is not a big problem. There are lots of software. So I use Adobe premium version of Adobe Acrobat Pro, and I only use it, subscribe it for 1 month, and then I stopped the subscription. So I collected all the evidence, and at the end of that, I just anonymize it within a month or 2 months. And finally, you need money. Of course, it's an expensive process. The fee is quite it's almost £1,700, provided you are successful in your first attempt. If not, if there is a review application, then you have to arrange some more money. So, all right, next. Okay, so trust support. What support you need from the trust? Can everybody see the slides? Right, I'm just confirming.
Yes, we can see the slides.
Yeah. Okay, good. So the trust support. So that is very important because there are lots of claims and expectation nowadays in the market, and I even see advertisement of the other day I was looking at an advert, and that displays a CESR fellow. I don't know what a CESR fellow is. So that kind of job was not there in the past. So they claim, they advertise in their job description that they will provide you CESR support. However, I think you should know that almost 95% of the work, or more than that, you have to do it yourself. The only support the trust can provide you is to sign your work-based assessments. The supervised learning events, what we call as your portfolio things, and they have to sign anyway, regardless of the fact that you are doing CESR or you are not doing CESR. So they have to sign. If you are doing any assessment and you are sending them request to sign, they are obliged to do that and to give you feedback. We'll talk more about that. So that's the main support you need from the trust. Now rotations. So there have been a debate, a myth circulating that you need the rotation in community pediatrics and level 3 NICU. I think it circulated because if you see the pediatric curriculum, so there are some competencies which you have to provide to show them that you are competent in community pediatric and level 3 NICUs. However, there is no requirement of working in a level 3 neonatal unit or in a community pediatric ward. So if you are working in a DGH, you don't need a tertiary care hospital to go to a level 3 NICU to complete your competencies, and you don't need to uh, uh, arrange a rotation in community pediatric. If you can get that, if your trust can help you with that, that is great. So obviously that will be better than not having these rotations, but I assure you that you can easily get these competencies while working in a DGH. You may though have to work a little bit extra in your off time. You can go to some community pediatric clinics in your off time or in your admin time, and just write few reflections on that. I'll come to that. I'll have a special time dedicated to that. And level 3 NICU, I did not work in a level 3 NICU since I have been into the UK, although I have worked in an ICU for a long time back home. But I did not use much evidence from that. So 85% of my evidence was from NHS and 15% of the evidence was from back home. Okay, so we'll talk about evidence I think that is going to take some time. So we'll up till this point, if you have any questions, so we'll go through that and then we'll move around. So I can see the chat box is also full. Yeah, Dr. Chaman Aruj has raised his hand.
Hi, Wakas, and
Hi.
congratulations again for finally completing it. Good work. I just have a quick question. Is there any requirement of, as in like prerequisite specification that you have to work in your country as a consultant in that specific post where you are applying? Because like if I've done FCPS and I came here immediately after FCPS, I've not worked in my country as a consultant, but I do have.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, you got my question.
So there is no such requirement, not written anywhere. So if you see the traditional training pathway, the CCT pathway, so the candidates, they do their training, they review their competencies everywhere, ST 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever, and the next day they become consultant. So there is no requirement that after your postgrad qualification you have to work as a consultant. It's not authentic.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi,
yeah.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So before starting CESR, they say that you have to drop an email to GMC for them to send a CESR link. So is that the basic? I mean, that's the main important thing to start the CESR?
No, that is not an important. So you have to drop an email just to guide them. I mean, to get an guidance. So they will review your basic experience, and if your eligibility, if you care, if you because sometimes you don't have the eligibility. So to make sure that that is the case, they just ask you to drop an email, but that is also not a mandatory thing. I did not do any such thing, and I will directly proceed to my application.
Because the thing is that I can't find anything to start an application on the GMC online. So is that a GMC online which we have to use to start, or it's
Yes,
something
it's a
different?
GMC online. So you make a GMC online account if you have not already. And when you have made an account, then on the left panel, you can go to the tab of registration. When you click registration, the tab, it will further open a sub panel which will show applications, and you will find your previous general registration application there as well when you did PLAP or
Yes.
whatever you have route
Yeah.
you opted to come. And in that, it will further open that you want to start a new application. So you click
Yeah.
that start new application, and it will guide you further that what is this application for GP registration, for specialist registration, or for
Okay.
whatever. There are lots of other pathways as well. So GMC, it's very complex. So you can
Okay.
choose from that you want to start a CESR application, and I actually will endorse that you, if if you have some evidence, and you think, if you foresee that you will be able to complete your CESR in the next 2 years, so you do start your application. You can always delete that application, because there is there's a condition of expiry after 1 year. So it doesn't matter, don't worry about that. Start your application, save it whatever you have, and when it expires, just delete that and start a new application and copy and paste from the previous. So you can do that as many times as you can.
Okay, so is there a compulsion that you have to work in that area for like 5 years? Like I'm going to apply for a subspecialty in neurology. So is that a compulsion that you have to work in that area for 5 years before proving the evidence?
No, there is no such compulsion that you have to work in an area for 5 years or so. Although I don't know about neurology, but I did not find any limit of any minimum years of experience anywhere. So I've explored the guidance thoroughly, but I didn't find anything in a general pediatric guidance. At least I cannot say for sure for neurology. If
I can
anyone else.
actually clarify a little bit about there are a few questions about CESR in subspecialty. So these CESR applications are actually called as CESR in non-CCT specialties. So the one which Waqas is at the moment talking about is CESR in a CCT specialty, which is pediatrics. But if you are doing a application for pediatric subspecialties like pediatric neurology, neonates, community pediatrics, or pediatric emergency medicine, so that's the CESR in a non-CCT specialty. So there's a slightly different eligibility criteria for that. If I correctly remember, it should be on the GMC website and college website also, that you should have a overseas postgraduate qualification in that subspecialty, or overseas training experience, at least 6 months training experience in that subspecialty to be eligible to apply for CESR in that subspecialty. So make sure, if you are thinking about a CESR in subspecialty, that is a CESR in non-CCT specialty, go to the GMC website. They have got all the evidence or the guidance. What are the eligibility criteria for CESR and non-CCT subspecialty?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and I will confirm exactly what has been mentioned for any subspecialty, neonates, emergency, or whatever. It is not an easy to be eligible, because for eligibility you need to be training both. For example, if you worked in pediatric neurology for 7 years in the UK, this is not eligibility criteria. You have either degree on that pediatric neurology or training abroad in pediatric neurology. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll tell you something because I have a neurology interest as well. I'm working in pediatric epilepsy, and I'm planning to. I attended a BPNA conference last year, and there are other equivalent pathways in neurology as well, which are similar to that. So the best thing will be write to CSAC committee, so CSAC committee of the Royal College, that you want to work as a neurologist. Because I explored through the GMC White's website, there is up till now I couldn't find a all the subspecialties are not listed there. Peds, endo, gastroenterology. So it's not listed there. The detailed guidance is not there, and most of the non-CCT specialties, which are the pediatric subspecialties, the GMC asks for generic domains. They have 4 or 5 generic domains: team working and communication, patient safety. So 3 or 4 generic domains which you have to provide the evidence for. But there are a lot of other pathways available. When you come to work in UK, you can do PLAB, you can register on the basis of your postgraduate qualification, you can register through the sponsor, there's a MTI, a lot of other things. So the conference I attended for pediatric neurology, they told me, there was a person from the Royal College who is the chair of the CSAC committee of pediatric neurology, and you can write to them and they can direct you further.
Okay, that's really helpful, and congratulations again, Vakas.
Thank you. Another thing I will mention, if you want to work in neurology or in a DGH, you can still do that with the General Pediatric CESR, and you can do a spin in epilepsy or neurology, but that will not be registered as a subspecialty register of the GMC.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I have not gone through all these questions. So anything, Sadia or Jamil, in the chat section?
I can see 2 hands up. Zainab and Hannah, have they been answered? Have you asked the question, Zainab and Hannah?
No. So actually, no, my question is different. So first, congratulations, Waqas, for your successful application. The question, I may missed it in your in your presentation initially. Do the pediatric registrars, I mean, what the work in NHS as a pediatric registrar will help in supporting the CESR application, or it should be at the level of associate specialist or locum consultant?
No. So you can work as a pediatric registrar or even a clinical fellow. That doesn't matter unless you get your competencies signed. So I will come to that. If you go through that's why portfolio is important.
Okay.
There's a checklist there, and when you get your checklist signed, it doesn't matter you are working as a clinical fellow or registrar or trust grade or associate specialist or a locum consultant. Even if you are working as a locum consultant, you will not get many opportunities to get your portfolio signed because you need a senior colleague to sign these competencies. But I'll come to that in detail in subsequent slides.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hannah, hands up. Hannah, you want to go first? Is it a history hand? Okay. Abda is the next one. Do you want to got a question?
Hi. Yeah. Hi, Wakas. Congratulations for that getting CESR as well. However, I have a question about job plans. What does that mean, job plan?
Job plan is are you working in NHS?
Yes, I'm working in NHS. Yeah.
So if you're working in NHS, then most of the trusts, they give you a job plan when you start. Sometime it is on paper, sometime it is on online. The trust I work in, they give a job plan online which you sign. So it's simply a description of what you do. So
There
your
is different from job description or the same, because
it is all no, it is almost the same. So job description is a
because
summary of what you will do, and job
because in Caesar here, sorry, in Caesar here in domains, there is job description and job plans. It's different, but I don't
yeah,
know, maybe the same.
so job description is a summary of what you know what. So it's basically an advert in when they are going they advertise the job opportunity. So that it's a few lines or a paragraph, but job plan is detailed that what you do, what is your rota, what will you be doing clinically, what are the admin PAs, what are direct clinical care. So when you are appointed or you work as a middle grade, there whatever amount of work you are working, so the 100% of that is not clinical. Some of that is admin, which include teaching, audit, quality, improvement, and all that projects. So so you can make a reflection on your job plan. Actually, that is a very good thing. So just open a new file in your portfolio and write on that job plan and put your reflection on that I joined NHS on this month and 1 year ago, and my job plan was this, and after 1 year now I have improved through this. I was not able to do whatever which you are
Yes,
hesitant with in
I
the start.
understand.
Now you are very competent in that, so that can be used as a piece of evidence.
Yeah. Just last question. There's a lot of things here in the domains, actually similar to each other, like CPD record certificate, the same certificate of attendance of workshop or conference, the same CPD registration points, the same, all of this the same. How I will deal with that?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. So CBD is CP. Are you talking about CPD?
Yeah. CPD record certificate, and then again they ask about certificate of attendance of workshop or conference.
So yeah, so that is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So CPD usually has to display CPD points on that, because some of the workshops or some of the courses you do don't display the C. For example, you are doing this webinar today, so you unfortunately you will not get any CPD points for that. So yeah, so that is basically a difference, but they are one and the same thing basically.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Sadia Wakar.
Hello, Vakas. I'm Sadia. My question is for specialty CESR. I worked in Saudi Arabia 12 years in infection disease, pediatric infection disease. My first question is that experience will count and these certificates can be added to this portfolios. Second, currently in UK for 2 years, I'm working in general pediatrics. So my hospital people say that you go for a CESR pediatrics. My interest in the subspecialty, how I deal with that. Either I will start with the subspecialty or with the pediatric.
All right. So as regards to your first question that you have a previous experience, will that be counted or not? So you have a 12 years experience. So well done for that. But unfortunately, GMC will not recognize any experience more than 5 years. So all of your evidence you are going to submit in your GMC application should not be older than five years. So that counts from the point of application. So if you are submitting your application today, so whatever evidence you are submitting should not be older than 5 years. So that will not be entertained.
Okay.
So one thing is that. Second thing is whether you want to do CESR in pediatrics or infectious diseases. Again, you have to weigh and balance things. I mean, it's your decision, but it is not a bad idea to go for general pediatrics. If you are working in general pediatrics at the moment, it's much easier to get evidence of what you are doing currently rather than getting evidence for a different specialty. Unless if you would be working in pediatric infectious diseases, then it would be a different case. Other option is that you get a job in pediatric infectious disease and go through that pathway.
Yeah.
Still, as I mentioned, for other subspecialties, you can do a general pediatric CESR, and once you achieve that, you can go for a SPIN, which is a special interest module in different specialties.
Yeah, thank you, Waqas. This is the suggestions given to me by my department, because they say that we are easily going to assign your competencies because we don't have infection disease in our hospital. So they're happy to lead me to the general pediatrics. Thank you so much for your kind information.
No problem, no problem.
Atif Riaz.
Hello. Hi, Waqas. Congratulations for your successful application first. So I did SCPS from Pakistan, and I started some neonatology second fellowship there before coming here. So just want to say, but I was not using any e-portfolio for my evidence in neonatology. How can I write down things which I have done?
Yeah. So if it is not that, if it is not very old, so you can still go back to your institution or whatever hospital or your supervisor if it is not older than 5 years, and you can get that signed if you know if so, but you cannot get much of that because it's not only about the procedures and DOP. So there's a lot of other things in Pakistan. I worked for a long time ago, but it's not very easy to get evidence for communication. How did you talk to the families? There are no appraisal system there. So what you can get from there is basically your domain. I think it's 2 or 3, that the procedure thing, that the procedures, which is very important in neonatology. So I have 2 or 3 friends who have completed CESR in neonatology. So, and with a very close friends. So DOPS and the procedure logs, you can get that from your hospital.
Yep.
And if you have done any publication, research, or audits in Pakistan, that will also be a good piece of evidence which you can use. And if you are working in neonatology now, then start your portfolio as keeping in mind that you are going to submit the CESR application in the next 2-3 years. So neonatology,
I'm in level 2 neonatology, sorry. So I have done
that's fine.
UVC, intubation I've done, and I have evidence from here, even chest tube, everything, big line.
Yeah, that's good. So but that is not, the procedure is not on the only thing.
Yep.
They have to get evidence for quality improvement and communication, leadership, lots of meetings with the preterms, discharge planning meetings, and neurodevelopmental follow-up of the preterms. You may also need the competencies for cranial scans and these things. So go through the guidance of neonatology. It is available on the GMC website, and prepare your prospective application in the light of that. CESR in neonatology is not very difficult.
Okay, shall we take rest of the question after the presentation? Shall we go back to the presentation?
All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So let's go to, now coming to the evidence, which is the most important bit of your application, and is the least information available. Although there are loads of info, but it's difficult to digest sometimes. So first thing is quantity. So there is no minimum or maximum. Again, GMC has been very vague on that in saying that they need 800 to 1000 pages of evidence. I don't know what does that mean. So that will look like this pile of files, if you can see here. Can you see that? Yeah. So can you see my slide? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it will look like this pile of evidence, this amount of pages. The other thing, they say that it could be, it should be around 150 to 200 uploads. Uploads means soft copies of files. So it should be 150 to 200 uploads which you have to upload. That's the quantity they are looking for on the online application. So earlier, when I opened my drive and showed you the folder, so in all the 11 domains, all the 11 folders, so that I counted that is somewhere between 150 to 200 files, which you have to upload. So, so you keep that in mind, so that you will adjust your speed according to that. Now, next thing is get familiar with the domains. Again, that is very, very important to get yourself familiar with the domains, because don't keep getting evidence blindly, keep doing CBD every day. That will, so one, if you have lots of evidence in one area, that will not compensate for your deficiencies in another area. So that is very, very important. So you have to maintain a proportion. I'll come to that in the next slide, that what proportion do you need. Again, portfolio comes in. So that is a type of evidence which you can get without a portfolio. So see, there are lots of things you can get without having a portfolio. So portfolio is not a very, it's not mandatory. So what you can get without having a portfolio, you can get appraisals, you can have clinic letters if you do clinics, and transfer letters. Even if you don't do clinic, you must be doing transfer letters, because every hospital you need to transfer a patient from secondary care to tertiary care, from tertiary care to quaternary or whatever, or back to primary care. Safeguarding reports, again, that is a very important domain. Domain 9, I think. Yeah, domain 9. It is very important for safeguarding. So you must be having it. I submitted 6 or 7 safeguarding reports. So the safeguarding reports, for those who don't know, is a child protection assessment, medical assessment, when child comes to you with a history of abuse or maltreatment, and you have to do the assessment, and you have to document yours. It's a formal legal document ranging from 10 to 15 pages. So you don't need a portfolio, and that is a very strong piece of evidence of your competency, and you can use that in more than one domain. Teaching and presentation, again, you don't need a portfolio for that. You do every hospital in anywhere in the world, you must be doing some teaching, some presentations, publications. So keep the record of your teachings which you have been doing, and get a feedback on that. So that is very important, because just giving GMC a PowerPoint presentation is not sufficient. You have to get feedback on that. So feedback you can obtain on your trust forms, or you can just use the Google Form, Survey Monkey, or anything like that. So whenever you do a teaching, get feedback on that. That is also a very strong piece of evidence. CPDs, you must be doing CPDs, so courses, APLS, NLS, other courses, leadership, safeguarding, lots of other things you need to you do as a part of your daily job. So that is an area which you you probably will not be deficient in. So there are lots of opportunities to do CPDs. They don't improve your application beyond a certain extent. So they are important, but it's not that you keep doing different courses in an expectation that your application will improve. So 3 of the important CPDs or mandatory CPDs are APLS, NLS, and safeguarding level 3. If you don't have that, your application will be rejected. Apart from that, you keep collecting whatever you get the opportunity for. Feedbacks and testimonials. Again, you in your appraisal, you take multi-source feedback from colleagues and from patients, compliments, cards, thank you card, greetings, lots of things. So you don't need a portfolio for that. Incident form, that is also very important. So domain 7, I think, yeah, for patient safety. And the evidence you can give for that domain is incident reports. So don't worry if you are involved in a 1 or 2 incident reports or DATEX reports. That is actually a plus point. So don't feel that that you are not I mean, if you have provided a DATEX report which you were involved in, for example, a sharp injury or drug error or whatever, and you have written a reflection on that, that you will not do that again, and whatever you have learned from that, that actually is a good piece of evidence. And what else you can do is to keep doing some incidents. So you will find the opportunities in your workplace in which you can register or enter a incident report that a drug error has happened or any safety issue has happened. So that is a very good piece of evidence. Audits and QIPs, again, you don't need a portfolio for that. So do audits and QIPs. That is a very, very important thing. So domain 5 or whatever. I submitted around 6 to 7 audits and QIPs. And mostly all of them I was the lead in, but you have to be a lead in at least one project. So lead means that you have started everything. So that's what GMC says. Publication, so not all of us are good in publication, and GMC and the Royal College acknowledges that so that is not a must thing for to give the evidence for research domain. And but if you have that, that's well and good, very good. So publications also take a lot of pages. If there's you have submitting a complete article, so one article sometimes it has 25-30 pages. Other forms of evidence again for research is case presentation in the conferences, posters, journal hub, or what do you call that, critical appraisal of an article. And then last but not least, the experience certificates, which all of us have, considering your wide experience. All right, so next is, one second. So type of evidence for which you need a portfolio. Okay, so this is where you need a portfolio. Work-based assessments. Work-based assessments are the supervised learning events. So you say that you have a 15 years of experience or 10 years of experience, but how is the person assessing you is going to believe that? So you have to prove through different processes, they will assess you, feed you back with their advice to improve or keep it up, whatever. And that is a very good authentic piece of evidence for CESR application. So what are the work-based assessments? CBD, which is case-based discussion, and you get a lot of hundreds of opportunities every day, almost, of these things. Yes, I agree that some trusts are supportive, and most of them they're not, and they are, because the consultants usually have a lot of other tasks, and they, whenever they have time, they prefer trainees over non-trainees sometimes. I mean, I know some of these issues. So case-based discussion, you see any case which you are the first primary physician or main lead physician, and you send a report or a kind of a ticket to your senior, your consultant, and he will feed you back with a reflection. Mini-CAX is a mini clinical evaluation exercise. What is this? I can see a pop-up on what is that, Jamil? All right, okay. So ACAT is like,
Know that.
okay, acute care assessment, for example, is assessment of you when you are working in an acute situation. For example, in a theater for resuscitating patient, a newborn, or in the emergency, a sick patient, asthma, DK, whatever. But the main thing is that you have to start, and then you can send a assessment request to your senior, and that is also a very good piece of evidence for domain 6 of your application, which is leadership. Other ways you can do that, you can ask your consultant in the morning that please give me the consultant bleep. There's a consultant bleep hardly rings. So you can do a reflection that I did a ward round today, and the ward is busy, and one of the junior doctor was absent, and you also did a teaching in between, and you managed nursing problems and all that, blah 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 blah. There are lots of opportunities for that. And then you can send this assessment to one of your colleague, not necessarily a consultant. You can send that to a colleague with equal seniority as you. HAT or HAT is a handover assessment tool. So at least 3 times we usually attend handover meetings. Or maybe 2. So lots of opportunities when you hand over, you can ask your colleague to assess you. It's just a simple form, the SBAR thing, situation background assessment, how many patients in the ward, safety briefing, no patient with the similar names, safeguarding and all that. So it's a very good thing. It's a very easy thing. DOPS is a direct observed procedure skills, where again, which I showed you in the start. You can also get that done on a manual paper if you don't want a portfolio, or that is something you can get from your previous workplace if you worked back home, and in there lot. So that is something which we keep the record of. And next is doc. So doc is a discussion of correspondence. So that is a good piece of evidence which you used in the communication domain. So the clinic letters, the transfer letters, the all the written information comes in DOC. So you have to send it your assessor, and he will see that and give you a reflection or feedback that how can you improve that. So that is also not a very difficult thing to do. Safeguarding CBDs. Now this is a bit not very easy thing. So if you're working in a DGH in acute pediatrics, you will get referrals for safeguarding cases, and most of the time our trend is to avoid that, to keep away from that. But if you do a few safeguarding CBDs, that is actually not good. That is kind of mandatory thing in your domain 9 of the portfolio, which is safeguarding, along together with the safeguarding report. So that is very important. So make a note of that, because that is the area most of us are deficient in. And then the last is leader CBD, case-based discussion in cases which you have been a leader. All right. Okay, so this was the proportion. This was something I was talking about, that you have to maintain a balance in proportions of these evidence you make. So don't just keep recording logs of patient and procedures. That will help to a certain extent. So if you see this pie chart, left side, the red area is 50%. So if you have 1,000 pages of your evidence, 500 out of that should be of these 3 domains: communication, procedure, patient management. And 25%, which means 250 pages, should be on professional values, leadership, team working, and educational and training. And 25% will be the green thing, which is health promotion, illness prevention, patient safety, quality improvement, safeguarding, and research. So you have to maintain not the quantity, but also the quality and the proportion, especially because, as I said earlier, deficiency in one area cannot be compensated by, more evidence in another area. So if you provide hundreds, more evidence in patient management or procedure because you are good in that, that will not help. All right. So, okay, we'll stop there and then take some more questions and then move forward, because again, there is a complex thing coming. Hafiz server. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for providing us such a wonderful opportunity to make things easy for us. My question is regarding workplace-based assessments. How we can collect these assessments from our previous experience out of NHS while we do not have a portfolio at that time? How should we be collecting those?
Yeah, so that is the thing that that's something you cannot compensate for. So collect the, the previous slide which I showed you. I'll open that again. So for these type of evidence which you are now seeing on your screen, that for this you don't need a portfolio. So maximum of your previous evidence collect without, if you don't have a portfolio for that, so use this type of things, these tools for your previous evidence. And now you are working in NHS, so try use collecting everything through the portfolio. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, just my query was in our SSG guidance, and regarding they say 2 CBDs every year, 2 mini CACs every year. Then what if I generate like CBDs covering for the last 4 years in next coming 1 year, because I am planning to submit application in 1 year time. Can I submit those number of CBDs ACAD during this year, or it should be dated previously as well?
No, okay. Are you talking about the training or CESR?
No, CESR.
Because CESR, there is no minimum number of assessments you have to have. At least it was not there when I was working on my application. So these 2 CBDs per year or 2 mini CACs per year, they are more of our trainees ARCP requirements. So you don't need a minimum or a maximum number of assessments per year. So you can create a mix of all this evidence in your application. So as I said, your previous first thing is that please keep in mind GMC will not entertain any evidence older than 5 years. So the longer you go, your previous experience gets less and less and less important. Because if you are submitting your application after 3 years and have you already been working in the UK for 2 years, so that means it's already been 5 years till that then, and your previous experience is almost null and void. Not null and void, but it will not be very authentic or not be any use for them. So whatever you have done in the past, hold it there, arrange under these categories of appraisal, letters, teachings, presentation, publications, whatever you have done, experience certificates in the past. And now what you are doing in UK, collect it according to the portfolio. Is that more clear? Or
okay, next question is
like just to make myself clear, if I will generate a number of CBDs, it doesn't matter when these were collected before submitting the application.
No, it doesn't matter. The CBD can be should not be more than 5-year-old from that point of application.
Okay, thank you so much.
Amar, please.
Guys, my question is how to link the CP, for example, the work-based assessments to our domains or curriculum. This is my main problem, to be honest. Because, for example, if I've done a CBD, for example, for safeguarding, and I went to safeguarding curriculum, I'm very tempted to tick most of the boxes in this one, in this domain. So what is the trick? Sorry. Thank you so much, Wakas, for doing this lovely session.
Yeah, so don't tick each and every box. So first thing is that Royal College says, even if the trainees, they don't check more than 2 boxes in more than 2 domains in your CPD or any other work, any other assessment. So if you are doing safeguarding, then you can put first thing is a safeguarding. Again, there are, if you open the domain, open the portfolio, there are 3 levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. And in each level, there are further key capabilities. So it will be the discretion of your assessor who is assessing you that he will be happy with whatever you have ticked or not. If he signs that CBD, so whatever you have ticked will be accepted. Now, if you have done a safeguarding CBD, for example, so you put that in one domain could be a safeguarding domain, and other domain can be a leadership, or if you have done the CBD, if you have done the safeguarding yourself. If you are not done yourself, you can put that into communication, because you are writing a report. If you are not writing a report, you can put that in patient management, because you are managing a patient. There are multiple things you can put that into.
All right. Okay. We've
Yeah.
got quite a few hands up, Vikas. Do you want to go through the
Yeah, please,
questions?
because
or
because that is the most important thing.
Okay. So the next one is Kulsum, please.
Can I just, Hannah, also, I have been raising my hand for a long time.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Oh yeah, Hannah, go through with it, because I called previously your name, but I think we couldn't get through to you. Yeah, go ahead.
So thank you, guys, for this presentation, and it's very clear guidance and very useful. I have 2 questions regarding one regarding the safeguarding. When you are saying like we should give evidence of safeguarding reports, are you talking about the reports?
Yes.
Only, or the S47 pro forma? Which is the one we do whenever we see the patient's initial?
Yeah, okay. So section 47 pro forma, you don't need to share. That's quite a sensitive thing. So safeguarding report is your report when you have done. So for example, a patient comes to you with a fracture or a bruise, and you have done full safeguarding assessment, and there is a consultant with you or a senior colleague with you, and you have made your impression, because the preliminary report you make on the same day, but after the detailed report, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 pages, depending upon the case, is ready after a week or so. So you dictate all your assessment right from the start to the end. What are the patient names, relative name, what is the mom, who were the characters in the event, father, stepdad, and what happened, and then the witnessed, and then previous history, past history, and then you come to the conclusion that this injury is accidental or non-accidental, and what are you planning to do next. And you have already discussed this in the safeguarding meeting. So I unfortunately cannot share my safeguarding reports which I have with me, but that contains sensitive information, so that I cannot share here.
Okay. I have done 2 so far, like a medical safeguarding reports, but you advise for like at least more, 6 or 7, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I did. Maybe they can accept a little less, but I think, yeah, if you are giving an experience, for example, 5 years, or that's what GMC looking into. So you are looking to provide at least one every year. So it's just an example. It's not a hard,
clear.
Not a formula.
And last question. We know when you attach your evidence in e-portfolio to the domain and the key capabilities, when I apply for a CESR, I should only give an evidence for level 3 only, right? I shouldn't. I'm not required. What?
Yeah, you can give evidence of level 2 as well, and I have submitted that. But you
sorry, I keep. What if I didn't give submit level 2 and level 1?
So get some evidences of level 2 as well. Level 1 is not required, but get some of the evidence of level 2 as well. It's not difficult if you are having a level 3 competency signed already. So level 2 will not be difficult. Or in the same case, you can put both levels, because some of the key capabilities belong to level 2 and some of them belong to level 3. So for example, if you are hosting a discharge planning meeting or something, if you are attending a meeting, then it is level 2. If you are leading a meeting, then it is level 3. So if you are leading a meeting, then also you are attending a meeting. So it will come in 2 and 3. So mostly it's level 3, but also give some evidence of level 2.
Okay, this is come to the last question. Yeah. So if I already submitted the evidence, have been signed by a consultant, but the evidence, the key capabilities are all level 3.
Yeah.
Can I go again back and add level 2
No,
or
no,
no?
no. The one assessment you have done is done, so that cannot be edited. So you can use some other. There's a lots of opportunities. So if you have get your evidences, your competencies signed for level 3, it will not be difficult at all to get competencies of level 2. But don't worry about that. It's not. It does not. It is not that important as you are taking it to be.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Can I request everyone please to limit yourself to one question, because I've got loads of hands up. So everyone can get the opportunity to ask their questions, please. Thank you. Kulsum is the next one.
Dr. Ukas, the other thing is there are lots of questions in the chat which people want you to go through as well. So once this finishes.
So you want me to open the chat, or you will read out and then I'll go?
Yeah, I'm trying to read out and replying few of them, but few things they want you from.
Okay, so I actually my screen is different, so I cannot see the chat. I don't know.
Yeah, I will read through once you finish all these
Yeah,
questions.
okay.
I can read the chat for you. Yeah.
Okay. Kulsum, please.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Ukas, for helping all of us. So the one question is that because I think I'm not understood properly this. So when we are doing portfolio and we have signed all the CBDs and AKIT, minikits, jobs, everything, and so still is this needed? Then we have to have this discharge letter as well. What we made it. And the CP medical report, what I made it to put in the CESR report, like we are saying we have to redact it. I'm not getting this stuff. When we have a competency signed by a consultant already, why not only we can put in the CESR application that only, rather than going through back and finding out all what I made in the past, the discharge summary, whatever, ref transfer letter and correspondence, anything.
Yeah, okay. So yes, it's not important, but it is good that you provide evidence from different in the resources. So not only portfolio, clinic letter also, there are assessments in the portfolio called discussion of correspondence. And in that you have to send a clinic letter to your assessor who assess your clinic letter. So your verbal as well as written communication is one of the competency you need to achieve. Yes, if you have enough evidence for that and you don't want to see the clinic, to use the clinic letter as your evidence, although they are very good piece of evidence, I'll tell you why. But if you don't want to use that, that's fine. And the term redaction I'm using is in basically anonymization of the patient identified data, which you have to use in the portfolio as well. So you cannot simply attach a clinical letter in a portfolio and send it to your supervisor to see that. It is very, very important to anonymize your data. There is full guidelines on the GMC. So you can use a software and remove all the patient details, and that is called redaction. So if your evidence go to the GMC without that, it will be rejected. And I hope that, because confidentiality issues in this country, they're taken very seriously. So you will be in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Vikas. My question is this: like, sometime what happened that I'm working in my consultant clinic, and I already sent by email this letter. Already, it has been discarded and sent to the patient, and she knows what I did. Yeah. So usually, I don't upload in my portfolio letter. I just sent assessment, and she signed it. She will come verify. So I don't need to even redact that letter.
No, it is very easy. You go to your secretary and ask. They will bring all the previous 1,000 letters, whatever you want. And sometimes if you have good relations with your secretary, she can redact that, or he can redact that for you as well. So clinic letters are a very good piece of evidence because they can be used in multiple things. So for example, they can be used in as a part of a multidisciplinary management, because if you are seeing a patient, for example, obesity, which you are sending to nephrologists for hypertension, endocrinologists for hormonal problems, and weight management service for weight control, or you are seeing a patient with any complex need patient, which you need to send it to a referral to occupational therapist, physiotherapist, sleep therapist, or speech therapist. So they can be used in multiple domains: patient management, MDTs, and communication. So that's not only correspondence. But again, that is not a compulsory thing. If you want, you can if you don't want to use them, it's fine. You can.
Yeah, because I do have some referral letters signed by my consultant, although I have not attached in my portfolio this letters, because she already had an email this late. I already emailed them a letter. They already corrected and sent by secretary by the patient to the patient, or to the referral to the tertiary, like
Yeah,
other
fine.
specialty.
That's fine. It's not a compulsory thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, this fine, my question. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. Abda, is that an history hand or is it a new hand? Abda Hafi.
Hi, Wakas again. Sorry, Mr. Bill.
Okay.
Again, just I want to ask: Have you been ever asked about to give them any hard copy evidence?
Hard copy evidence, they will ask for your certificates, the experience, the qualification, and all your registrations of all the countries you have worked in. So that is something, even if you have worked for 20 years, so you have to give the registration for the whatever your licensing authority of that country is. So you have to give that in hard copy, and that has to be authenticated as well. That I will come to in my subsequent slides.
No, just another question. Just you mentioned that there is a lot of to and fro between you and them.
Yeah.
Can you give us just some example of about why
Yeah,
they?
I'll not. So I'll tell you each and everything, but
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you.
that section is coming to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Muhammad's hands up, please.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Wakas. Thanks a lot for this session. So my question was, so I think you will be showing it on your slide, I guess, that the CESR application is basically through GMC online. It has nothing to do with the RCBCH website, right?
No, it's a GMC online account.
Yeah. And I guess you'll be telling us about it later, that it's basically you upload it. You'll be telling us how to upload.
Yeah, I'll be telling you in my last few slides.
Yeah, okay. I think that'll be fine then. So yeah, sorry, then you can carry on. I think you should carry on, yeah.
Okay, so the last hand was up was from Chatra. I can't see it anymore. Does she have a question anymore or no more? Chatra?
I think she's left.
She's left. Okay, that's fine. Then we are done at the moment. No more hands.
Okay. So any questions from the chat, Dr. Sadia? Anything?
Yes, let me go through them.
Yeah.
So the first question was basically about CESR subspecialty, which you have already answered. And then the question was regarding the domains of subspecialty, and I've answered that it's just the general Peds. We have 11 domains. Every subspecialty have their own domains.
Okay.
The next one is, yeah, so there was another question. Even for non-CCT, CESR domains are specific for each subspecialty. Do you tag and link the domains in portfolio before you upload them to your CESR application?
Yeah, so the non-CCT specialty, the domains are generic. I know some of them my friends have done in neonatology and other specialties. So there are 4 or 5 generic domains, which, the same domains as GMC, good medical practice. And linking, you have to do everything before uploading. So portfolio work is complete each and everything. Uploading is the final thing which you have to do. It's not, you cannot link or unlink after that. So when you finish your assessment in the portfolio, there is a tab up in the top right corner, I think, with at least in my portfolio page like that, is download PDF, and you can download the PDF, and that PDF you can attach as an evidence in your GMC application.
And then the other thing is the date of birth accepted?
I redacted that. They said any patient identifiable data. So don't take a risk, redact that.
Okay. And then can you do CESR for working in community Peds?
So if you are working, so obviously if you are working in another specialty and you are doing CESR for another specialty, that is not advisable, because obviously if you are working in a community pediatrics, you will not get these acute competencies and emergencies and units and all that. So you can work as a consultant in community pediatrics after doing a CESR in general pediatrics. That I can advise. So you can, if you have done a CESR in general pediatrics, you can work in emergency medicine, you can work in community pediatrics, and you can work in a level 2 neonatal unit. And yeah, so but working in a general pediatric and doing or working in community and doing CESR in an or vice versa, it's not advisable.
Yeah. And then another question is, I have evidence from my patients back home. I need a resume of each patient, or just a list sign out from my old hospital?
No. Resume, I didn't get that. I don't know what does it mean, but if you have evidence from back home, and if it is as long as it is not less than more than 5 years, you can use that. If it is a logbook, then you can use that after reduction of patient identifiable data.
Then is, if you get CESR in general peds, can you apply for consultant job in any other subspecialty?
As I said, level 2 neonatology, community pediatrics, pediatric emergency, but not other than these.
Okay, for the competencies, do we need only consultants to sign the competencies? And you've already answered that.
Yeah, preferably, or if you don't get anyone, then you can get your colleague to sign that, or a senior registrar, but you should have a mix of everything in your application.
Yeah, and so actually I double checked this with because I'm already working on it as a consultant. So when I'm doing the procedures, I was struggling to get someone to do my DOPS. So I checked, and they said anyone like who is capable of doing that procedure, like ST67, and if they are around you, they can do it for you.
Yes, they can. Yeah.
And then,
but the thing is that it's only about, not only about DOPS, there are other things as well. But anyway, yeah, the best thing is to get a mixture of everything in your application.
Okay, and then how to collect evidence before starting an application? Should it be on hospital letterhead or signed by someone?
I mean, you have to collect evidence anyway before submitting your application. You cannot submit your application and can collect the evidence later. So what is the question? Letterhead or whatever? Yes, letterhead is important. Letterhead is important. Let me show you one example. I'm going again back to this. Can you see this screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me see, what can I open?
Because we have only 30 minutes left, so just keep in mind.
Yeah, okay. Let's move. I'll find it later, and then we'll go back to it later. Yeah.
I think more or less in the same questions. Can we link our CPCH portfolio to GMC, which you I think already mentioned that we have to do the download and attach it.
Yes. All right, so shall we move forward?
Yes,
I think
please.
we have half an hour left, so let's complete it.
Okay, yeah. All right. So let's go forward then. Okay, so this is what they need actually. So I will now go domain by domain. What competencies GMC and the Royal College are expecting, and what evidence you can provide. So I am telling you all this based on my personal experience, because now I have successful, so I can say that, but it is not limited to these, and they depending on individual condition, individual cases, it may be more or less. So domain one, what the G is, is the professional values, and what the competencies you have to have is you should apply knowledge of current legislation related to children and families. That's a very broad statement, and there's lots of competencies in the portfolio for that. And the second competency for domain 1 is practices independently in a safe manner. Now, how can you provide the evidence? How can you prove yourself in these? Here comes the main real thing. So you have to provide anonymized court reports and your witness statement in safeguarding cases. So now that's why I was mentioning clinical letters and redaction, because you have to redact the things anyway. So court reports for safeguarding, if you have attended a court, obviously, or a witness statement if you have been a witness in a safeguarding case. If you have not been to one, get yourself be involved in at least one case. So because all the trainees give evidence for these. Reflective notes relating to medical legal work. So you can, for one example, I can give that, for example, you are in the ward, or is it a safeguarding case or a self-harm case, or the patient is trying to kill himself or suicidal, and you have to involve police and all that to control the situation, or if the patient is aggressive, and you can write your notes in the reflection and make a developmental log that what did you learn during that, or other medical legal things, for example, sexual assault with a minor of an adult with a minor, or other way around, or so anything medical legal. Appraisals and revalidation if you are in UK. So appraisals are definitely, if you are working in UK, so appraisal is a part of your job plan in all, I think, every trust. So the appraisals are usually must. So appraisals are also very good piece of evidence, because your appraiser comment on each and everything, all domains of, you have from your CPDs, your quality improvement projects, patient safety, if you have been involved in any complaints or compliments or feedback. So appraisals are a very, very good piece of evidence. If you have the appraisal forms with you, that is very good. If you don't have, go back to your appraisal manager in your trust, and you can ask them that I need my forms for the last 2, 3, 4 years, or whatever you have been working with. See, okay. So, oh yes, I was actually I opened my drive to show you my appraisal forms. Well, I'll open that later. Then reflective notes of independent practice. So if you are doing independent practice, for example, if you are doing independent clinics, again, the clinic letters now, they will be the part of your this evidence of this thing, independent practice, because you are working in clinic without any supervision. Certificate of good standing, that is self-explanatory. You can get that from all the institutions you have worked in. Evidence of learning and remediation of any deficiency. So again, you can write developmental log on that. For example, if you have learned something in the first attempt, you were not that good, and then you reflected on that, you did additional reading, learning, or explored different resources, internet, and then you did the remedy, and you overcome your deficiency. So provide evidence of that in a developmental log. CPD attendance records, again, this is very, as indicated by the name, just certificates of the courses relating to developing independent practice. For example, a leadership course. I think most of us have done a leadership course. If not, then try booking one. Now, domain two is a communication. Now, again, see the language. This is, I have taken from the GMC. So the competencies they are asking for is that the candidate models and teaches effective active listening skills in consultation with children and young people. So you have to use active listening skills while consulting your patient, and you also have to teach that to your juniors. So the portfolio is not only for yourself, you can also use the evidence of assessing other doctors. So for example, you're assessing your juniors, F2s, trainees, ST1s, and all that. So they send you tickets and you write some piece of advice to reflect on that. That is a very, very good piece of evidence for your independent practice, your communication, and your training. Second thing, demonstrates to other so please be very attentive to these all slides, because that makes the main thing of your application. Demonstrates to other how to manage an effective consultation, including communication and diagnosis, prognosis affected to children, young people, and families. Again, this thing is you can do by your clinic letter or referral letter, because in the clinic letter you write that I've explained to the parents that he has constipation, so I have given advice for healthy diet, fluid intake, daily exercise, regular toileting, and I'm also prescribed this medication, and I've referred them to the continence clinic or whatever, and I've signposted them for whatever resource. Leads MDTs and applies communication skills. So they are testing your communication. So you have to attend MDTs, and please try at least to lead 1 or 2 MDTs. So leading is not difficult. You just have to be a host and collaborate the communication between different professionals. So for example, the safeguarding meeting, you just have to sit on the computer, welcome everyone. So we are doing this strategy meeting today, and this is safeguarding nurse, this is GP, this is pediatric consultant, I am this. So you can, you have to host, but that is a very strong piece of evidence. Supports and communicates effectively with families when the child is extremely unwell. So that is, again, when you are working in emergency and the patient is very sick or dying, or you are going to withhold your resuscitation attempts, and what kind of communication you do. Sorry, I'm just quite sunny here. Okay. And so you give evidence for that in a developmental log. So what evidence you can give for this table? You MSF, obviously you take multi-source feedback from all the colleagues and they write about your communication. Testimonial from parents and carers, if they give you any compliments, thank you cards, or feedback. Reflective notes on consultation, case histories, letters. So reflective notes on consultation are actually the clinical letters. Case histories, referral letters, MDT meeting notes. So all the MDT meetings you are attending or leading, they need a demonstrative active role. So see on this thing. So the minutes can be available with your secretary, and you can ask to write your name or your initials. Usually whenever they do a meeting, they have a list of attendees who are attending that. And then you have a discussion of correspondence. Okay. Level 3. So we'll stop after 3 domains, and then we'll take the questions, because this is getting complicated. So the competencies you need for domain 3, which are procedures, are advanced life support skills, which I'm sure all of you have. Undertakes the key procedure, again, peripheral cannula, lumbar puncture, airway, ETT, umbilical catheterization, all of you have that as well. And supervises and assesses junior staff undertaking clinical procedures. So when you are signing DOPS for your junior doctors, responds to and leads emergency situation and perform advanced life support. So APLS would be evidence for that, which you all have, I suppose, because that is compulsory in most of the trusts. So evidence you can provide for these are APLS, NLS, EPULS, DOPS, your logs, your skill logs, your evidence of simulation. Yeah, simulation and teaching is very, so simulation usually happens in most of the trusts. So get yourself involved in 1 or 2. And reflective practice on performing the procedures. For example, if you have done a lumbar puncture and you were unsuccessful and you tried again and it was again traumatic and you have to give antibiotic for 5 days, 7 days, or 14 days. So you reflect that I will be, you learned something and you will be more vigilant next time, and you learned some new skills and something like that. So I think we'll pause here and take some more questions. Is that okay? Or you want me to continue? Everyone there? Hello?
Continue.
Sorry, one question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. can I give evidence from if I've seen a patient and independently, like during night on call, and it was like severe DKA or someone who's an OptiFlow or required intubation, and there is a documentation like I am the one I have seen, I assessed, I called someone, and the decision was so and so and so, and my plan was so and so and so. So obviously this will be written in the progress note. Can I provide this as evidence after redacting the confidential data?
Yes, you can do that. You can provide that as evidence of a care assessment. Yeah, you can use that. But more independent practice will be a clinic letter, because that you are doing right from the start to the end without involving of any other else. But yeah, you can use that as a practice as evidence as well, because in the night you were there and you have managed everything. If you have not taken any advice from a senior, if you did not require that, then you are independent. If you are working on advice of another person, then that is not an independent practice.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Waqas, are we taking questions now? Because I can see a few hands up, or you're carrying on with the presentation.
My hands up. Can I go with my question, please?
Okay.
So my question for Sadia, I saw in the chat box one of the attendees wrote that MTI fellowship is considered as eligibility criteria for non-CCT CESR. I think she wrote if she had MTI fellowship in pediatric endocrinology or neonatology or whatever, it can be eligibility criteria. I'm not sure if Sadia has evidence for this confirmation. Thank you.
So basically, I know someone who has come through MTI in neonates and then now doing a neonatology CESR. So I can't clearly say about endocrinology, but people who have come through MTI in neonates, and she's done a CESR in total 4 years. She did 2 years MTI, and then she moved up as a specialty doctor post in neonates, and then she completed her CESR, and she's a consultant in the same hospital where she came as an MTI.
So that I don't think, although I have not read it, but I don't think it makes any difference what post you are working in. If you, as long as you can provide the evidence of competencies, then doesn't matter that is MTI or non-MTI or whatever. I don't think so. That is
so. Can I remind again that for non-CCT CESRs or subspecialty CESR, you must have overseas training experience and overseas postgraduate qualification. If you do not have that, MTI will not make you eligible for the non-CCT CESR or CESR in a subspecialty.
All right. Okay. Next. Is that all?
Can I ask a question? Hi, my name is Farhana. My question is the community pediatrics competencies. We can go to the community pediatrics clinic and sit there and do our reflection, but we cannot produce any clinical letter. But because we're not doing those clinics.
No, you can do that. As I said, you can. Obviously you will need a support from the community pediatric consultant, but in your off time you can go and attend her or his clinic, and you offer, can I do this letter? And most of the time I think they would be happy to do that, because doing a letter is not an easy thing. So there will be at least some work less from his or her job. So I have done that. So I think obviously that will require the support from your whoever the consultant is, but I don't think it's a big problem.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a quick question, please?
Ashutosh, hands up, please. Sorry, guys, I'm going by time order. So whoever raised their hand first, I'm going through them first. So let me just say the name, and then you can pop in your question. So next hand up is from Ashutosh, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Hi,
thank you.
Thank you, Waqas. My name is Ashutosh. I've got a question regarding the feedback which we give to junior trainees or other junior doctors, as in SHO grades, or when you're working as a registrar. How do you get that evidence from them do you have to ask them that I have submitted, because I've given a lot of feedback to so many people until now, but I don't have any feedback?
This is the problem. Actually, I'm sure the evidence we have to, the competencies which we need to provide to get ourselves, acknowledged as competent. We all have that, but we don't keep the record of that. So if the junior doctor has sent you a request that will come in a portfolio, and if you are having a portfolio, it will be there forever. But if you don't have a portfolio, then in that case, it will be a problem.
Okay, because yeah, some would be RC CHP if they are pediatric trainees, but sometimes they are GP trainees, and some of them are other like foundation year doctors as well.
In that case,
when you have done a mini kicks or a CBD for them, or a MSF kind of thing.
Yeah, then the surgeons operated on it laparoscopically, discovered macro diverticulum, so they had
Excuse me,
now
please,
he's been discharged
somebody is
today.
using his,
Unfortunately, so he's at home now. He's opened his bowel since his operation. It's a bit of like diarrhea, a tiny bit of
Can
blood,
we
but
mute
then
all?
they know that's normal after an operation.
Can people mute
It's
themselves?
okay, he's not vomiting or anything like that. So he's not febrile at the moment either. His mum said he's a bit lethargic, and he has been before the surgery.
I muted everyone, so can you unmute yourself, Dr. Waqas, now?
It's Dr. Sadia. All right. So coming back to that question, for if you have signed the some competencies for your assessment for your junior doctors, but you don't have the record of that, one option is that if you ask them, because that will stay in their portfolio forever, if they can give it to you. Other option is that from now onwards, whenever they send you request, for example, if a GP or F2 trainee with different portfolio, all they use 14 fish and Horus or whatever. So you can keep the screenshot of your assessment, and you can use that obviously after reduction of data. So that is also very, very important. That is not acceptable if you don't redact the assessment, the name and other details of your colleague when you are providing assessment. Next.
Okay, thank you so much. That was useful.
Okay, I can see two hands up. Are they history hands or they are new questions from Kulsum and Hana? Okay, if there's the question been answered, can you please lower your hands? Thank you.
Okay, can we take a short break? I'll go for a drink and just 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect. That's fine. Have a drink, Waqas.
Let's take a break and then I'll be back soon. Okay, yes. All right. Sorry, it's quite warm here today. Okay, can we start again?
Yeah, we can start, but I think we've got only 15 minutes left.
That's fine. The meeting will continue. That is, and we don't have much left. Okay, so moving to next slide, domain 4. Okay, so domain 4 is the patient management that is not very complex. So in the left side, you can see all the competencies you have to provide. The red ones, which I have highlighted in red, are a bit difficult to get. Otherwise, other than of straightforward diagnosis and supervises treatment in common pathologies, encourages young people to participate in their individual care using expert resources appropriately. So that's simply signposting someone to some guideline or information leaflet. For example, VEs, obesity, constipation, smoking, all these things. Supervises colleagues in the assessment and management of cases which are complex. So you are assessing CBD for others. So if you are sitting in a clinic and there is a junior doctor with you, or if you are in a day unit and there's a junior doctor you are teaching. Models colleague a flexible, holistic, reflective, evidence-based approach. Again, the same thing. Basically, signing CBDs or other work-based assessments for them. Anticipates the need for transition to another service, is able to work jointly alongside another service for a patient. So, for example, when you are referring a patient to another specialty, for example, you are treating and you found a murmur, so you have to refer for an echo, and you're referring to cardiology or gastroenterology or any other subspecialty. Collaborate flexibly.
Alert from low battery.
Oh, okay. Collaborate flexibly across local health systems to lead in care quality, resuscitate, stabilizes, treats acutely unwell children. So we all do that, recognizes, investigates, continues the treatment of full range of acute chronic health problem presenting to pediatric outpatient clinics. So we all do that. So how can we can provide evidence, we can give anonymized patient logs, same thing, clinic letters, the best. So you can see now they are coming in every domain. Medical reports, case notes, work-based assessment, reflective notes, developmental logs focused on outpatient clinic. So basically it's mainly outpatient. Domain 5 is, what is that? I think it's a health promotion. Sorry, I forgot to write the name of the domain. So it's a health promotion. So you have to demonstrate that you have the understanding of the systems that enable clinicians to analyze data relating to the patient under their care. So that means basically the stats of your hospital, your region, your county or the country, international or whatever. So it's basically the systems, how it works. System of health, social care, the hierarchy, the other agencies, professionals are attached to that. Applies health information data to a wider community when there is a regional, national, or international issues. So, for example, whatever limited evidence you have, you apply to a wider community. Back in the few years, we have the pandemic, and we were using the data of whatever we have and applying it to, extrapolating it to our own workplaces, getting it from other countries which come before us. Evaluates the way that patients and family use the health system and adapts practice to encourage management and early intervention. So I don't know what that means, to be honest. And evidence you can provide, reflective notes, evidence of contributing to local, national, and international activity initiatives to tackle inequalities. So these are basically the national evidence of contributing to local, national, and international initiatives. So these are the health programs at local level or international level or national level. So basically like national asthma audit, epilepsy audit, and these kind of things. Sadia has raised his hand. Sadia, okay, everything okay?
I just wanted to mention about this, the last key capability, domain 5,
Yes, please.
evaluates the ways the patient and the families use the health system. Basically, this is like, for example, for me, I work in diabetes. And when we speak to the patients about explaining them how to use the sensor and how to upload the pump information. So these are the basic sort of things when we discuss. Similarly, like epilepsy patients, their medications, and like lots of chronic illnesses patients, we are teaching them how to utilize their facilities. Cystic fibrosis patients, and like sometimes cuff assisted device, explaining parents how to use it at home. So when you are explaining them how to use and do the self management at home, that is something which you can add it on.
Thank you. All right. CPD certificates you can provide as evidence, patient records, again, evidence of communication, which can be letters, evidence of practical engagement in public health issues during clinical encounters. Now, what could be the evidence of this, Dr. Sadia? Have you taken any for this?
So they're like any sort of notifiable diseases. If you have notified them to public health, you will receive an email back from them.
So you can
and
use
that
that
you
as
can
evidence. Yeah.
that you can use that as an evidence.
I have done the same. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, domain 6, which is leadership, it has a significant proportion in the pie chart, which I have shown you before. So it asks you to provide competencies of the candidate engages effectively with stakeholders such as patient, families, charities, and other health organizations to create and sustain the patient-centered service, basically what we do every day. Meets patient need through working with the non-clinical managerial colleagues to develop the skills pertinent to effective running of a pediatric department. So that is a collaboration between clinical and non-clinical staff. For example, your managers, other security people, so non-clinical staff, the need of the non-clinical staff and your collaboration with them to run a service. Sustainability, basically. So if, for example, if you need more beds or if you have a staff shortages, you want to increase the capacity of your unit or these kind of things, for which you don't need a clinical colleague, you need a non-clinical colleague who has the authority of make that change. Leads in a multidisciplinary team working, that is very, very important. You have to give evidence of leadership that you are the main person in that patient care. Addresses challenging behavior with the team. Assumes the role of the acute pediatric team leader. So that all can be proved by ACATS, the acute care assessment, the ACATS in your portfolio. Coordinates, leads the care of children and young people with complex condition, liaising with primary care and other hospital and community specialist teams. So again, when you are the leader and you are collaborating the care among different professionals in GP, midwife, other hospitals, community pediatrician, and all that. So the evidence you can give: work-based assessment, ACATS, basically assessment of look after children. That is very important. So please try, if you can get that, if you can attend at least 3 or 4 looked after children. When you, if you have not done that already, looked after children are those children which are looked after by the state. So when you, in the clinic, the assessment involves, taking from the start, arranging all their health needs, both for prevention and treatment, what educational needs, so lots of other things you need. So if you go through looked after children, you just Google it, and you need to give evidence of looked after children clinics, at least 3 or 4 clinics. Try to get that with your community colleagues or community consultant. Letter to school. So you can write to school a letter that for anything that this child is, for example, if you are doing neurodevelopmental clinics, or send a copy of letter to the school that the special needs of a child, that he need to go to toilet, should be given a pass, or if this child is epileptic, so need is medication, how to give the inhaler. So different kind of things which, so you need you need to show a letter that you have addressed to school, basically. Demonstrable involvement in organizing staff rota, so that is management. So I have been doing rota for 2 years, so you can ask your rota coordinator that let me do the rota for 6 months, and after 6 months you can ask them to give a certificate on their letterhead, and that can be used as a evidence of leadership and management. You can do a teaching rota as well. Developmental logs on management or governance. Logs on management, for example, you have arranged a meeting, or like we are arranging this meeting to educate everyone about CESR. So you have arranging meetings for training for education during the pandemic when the social distancing was in place. So any kind of managerial things you have been doing, which are not quite clinical. MDT chairing meetings, same thing, managing colleagues and other staff members, reflective notes, case histories, presentation, blah, 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 same thing. Domain 7 is patient safety, basically. So the competencies it asks you for, you have to take in account in their practice of risks to themselves and other colleagues. So again, the same thing which you already do. So that is one of the GMC domain as well, that you keep your patients and your colleagues safe from whatever. So identify the risk and keep yourself, your colleagues, and your patients safe from that. Participates in investigating, reporting, and resolving serious incidents. So if you somebody has datics and you are participating in that or exploring that, and ultimately reach to an outcome of that. Applies the principles of the duty of candor. That is we have been doing on all the. This question comes in the specialty interviews when you're applying for registrar or when you're getting a job. So what evidence you can provide is evidence of safe prescribing. You can do a safety prescribing course. It is available on the most of the e-learnings of the trust. You can also write a learning developmental log in your portfolio that you have done some, in a response to a drug error that you have done mistakenly, and a reflection you could write that this is what I've learned, and I will see how will I improve it in the future. Or you can do an assessment with your colleague that you prescribe some patient medicine after telling it from the BNF, and you will just sign the CBD. Reflective note, CPD, evidence of managing and responding to complaints, that if somebody has complained against you, or you are the senior person and somebody has complained of another person to you, and how do you deal that situation. So when obviously there is a datics, there is an incident report which involves you in some capacity, there will be some communication. You can take the screenshot of all those emails and can use as an evidence of in your application. Domain 8 is the audit and quality improvement. We all know that, and if we don't know, then the competencies are the same. Basically, the evidence what you can provide as doing audits, quality improvement projects, revise the guidelines, develop some patient information leaflets, take the feedback from your colleagues when you are presenting that, if you don't know how to do an audit, and if you're not started, then speak to your supervisor who has done that, or at least get yourself involved in an audit which is already been going on. You have to provide evidence in which at least one audit or project you are the leader. So I have submitted around 6 to 7 projects. In most of them I was the leader, but the GMC asked for at least one project in which you are the main, you have initiated that project and you are the leader. Other examples of quality improvement projects are revising the guidelines, trust guidelines. They take a lot of time, 1 year almost. Posters in induction, when every 6 months or 4 to 6 months, you're teaching your batch changes of junior doctors, so you can design something new to teach them. For example, you can make a project of doing a folder for where you compile all the guidelines which I've already done in a one folder, and make subfolders of according to systems which will be helpful to the junior doctors. You can take a questionnaire before starting the project and take a feedback after finishing the project, and then you can use an evidence of quality improvement project. There are lots of other ideas, quick ideas as well, which can finish in 3 to 4 months. Okay, so safeguarding, which is very important and the most difficult, what I think. So safeguarding, in the left side, you can see the competencies which you have to provide, the role of pediatrician in relation to those of other agencies in the management of children in need and those in need of protection, and ensure suitable follow-up. So basically everything right from the start of the referral, when you have received a referral that this patient is query child abuse, to the end until it is sorted after the strategy meeting. So what happens in between is basically your role, in addition to other agencies, obviously. Assesses the health of lead for sudden and unexpected sudden death in infants, SUDIC. So that is not very common. I mean, it is common, but it's not common that you get. I have not been able to collect an evidence for SUDIC, but if you get that, that will be very good. Instigate appropriate medical investigation, initiates contributes to multi-agency involvement in the all form of abuse. So basically, when a child comes to you, you admit, do the coagulation, CT scan, or ophthalmology, whatever, skeletal survey, and other things which you do, and admit the child and call the social worker, and do other things for the safety of the siblings. So all that comes in this. Recognizes, investigates, and manages safeguarding issues, including providing advice to general practitioners, other healthcare professionals, and oh, I lost that. Where was I? Yeah, other healthcare professionals and social care providers. Complies and writes a range of reports. Now here comes the reports which you do after safeguarding medical assessment. So evidence you can provide are the medical reports or witness statement. You should get 1 or 2 witness statement at least, and 5 or 6 medical reports. There is no number there, but that is what they expect you to do. Workplace assessment like safeguarding CBD, minutes or recordings of participation in a safeguarding meeting. So you must be attending the meeting. There are weekly meeting in every department, every trust department. They do weekly safeguarding meetings, and you can ask your secretary to record the meetings of that and write your name in the attendees. And you can redact the other attendees, and then you can use that meeting as evidence. Developmental log is something which does not need any assessment or verification by another person, another doctor. So log is your own log learning. So you can record as many logs as you want. And obviously current certificate in level 3 child protection, which I'm sure you all have. And it's not difficult to get if you don't have. All the trust provide e-learning for child protection. Domain 10 is teaching. Is it teaching? Yes, it's teaching. So you do presentations and teachings in your departments wherever you're working, back home and here as well. So just take a feedback of that, because that is the main thing to give as a child protection for evidence. For example, I will ask you to give me a feedback after this meeting, and I will use it as an evidence of whatever teaching we have done. Then you can also use work-based assessments, which you have done for your junior doctors, as evidence of teaching and training. You can use some certificates of courses like train the trainers, or if you have been an appraiser or supervisor, but they are not mandatory. Next is the last but not the least is domain 11, which is research. So research is something which we are not very, we don't have much evidence. But they don't expect to give a lot of articles or publications. You can give evidence. So what they ask for practicizes evidence-based medicine. So you have to practice evidence-based medicine and critically analyzing its limits, and leads in the development and revision of local guidelines. So I have done one project after I read this. I read this guidance. So that's why I'm saying that even if you don't have anything, so now you know what to do. So plan your prospective journey according to this. So evidence you can give in this domain is if you have your publications, well and good. If you don't have much, you can do a poster, or you can revise a guideline. You can do journal club in critical appraisal of an article with your team. You can contribute to a departmental research activity. For example, if a project is going on in the department, you can contribute to that and get a certificate from your supervisor or whoever. Presentation at a regional meeting. So any case or poster, if there is an interesting case, you can record that and present in a regional meeting or international meeting, or there's lots of opportunities to do that. There's lots of conferences going on, and you can use that for teaching, for research. So the domains are finished. There are 2-3 slides left. So before we move forward, we'll take further questions from the audience. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the hands to come up.
Okay, it's good if there are no questions then.
Yeah, I have question. Sorry, I have raised my hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Waqas, there's 2 questions. Sorry, I know it's already a long discussion, and thank you again. So one thing that we have weekly neonatal MDT, and I have led most of the time myself, and sometimes my consultant is also with us, like online, like we do in teams. So if it's a neonatal team and a community team, so SALT and language therapist, speech and language therapist, and the community physiotherapist, dietitian, lots of other stuff. So, but we don't record minute of this meeting. So how can I prove it that I led multiple times?
Yeah, so somebody must have been recording, or if there is no minutes, then there must be some documentation of that. Because if you are doing a meeting for a complex need patient in which you are involving a lot of professionals, so what are you doing the meetings for? There is some agenda that you are doing.
But it's a routine MDT, weekly routine MDT to make aware of community team that which unit is ready to go for discharge, or what is the plan for that. So they should know. Yeah.
So you go to your portfolio, and in the developmental log, there is a section called meetings, and keep filling that I have. It will automatically take you that what needs to be filled. Or you can do a case-based discussion with your assessor.
Consultant? Yeah, because my consultant happy to do it, but I wasn't sure where I have to put it in that.
So you do that in case-based discussion.
Okay, fine.
Can I just add one more thing?
Please.
Yeah. So basically, we as a diabetes team also do these weekly meetings. So what we normally do is that one of us keep like a minutes ourselves, and then email it to the whole diabetes team as an email, and then you can use that email as an evidence that today in the meeting we have discussed all this. So if you email and then keep a record of that, that's also a useful evidence.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This is also helpful.
Let me open, if I can find one of the meeting. Where is my meeting folder? So this is my meeting folder. Can you see this?
I just had one question relating to those meetings.
Yeah.
Can we use the MS Teams like links as an evidence that this meeting had happened?
You cannot use that evidence because before using that any minutes of the meeting, you have to anonymize all the possible data. So link will not lead you to anywhere. So you have to give some document.
Yeah.
So these are the meetings which I have attended, and let me see which one is not showing any details. I think this one. So there's a TB meeting. So yeah, so that was a TB meeting which was done in this date, and there are initials of the attendees. So MW is me, and these are the minutes and what is the plan which we have made. So just to give an example, okay?
Okay, fine. And second thing you said, when we send assessment on portfolio to our senior or consultant, for example. So I can give you example like a safeguarding assessment, but we do select 2 domains. So one is safeguarding, and second one is, for example, communication or the professional, whatever. But for example, I ticked all the like level 1, level 2, level 3 capabilities, and the consultant although did not comment on that, but just comment on safeguarding, but sign it and verified it. Will it count it that domain as well? Because
so so that will be counted. Yeah, if
that will be counted. Yeah,
has signed, then that will be counted.
Yeah, that's helpful, because most of the time my consultant they don't comment on those what I ticked, but they sign it.
I mean, they sign. Yeah, they should comment it actually. So again, so I have received evaluation feedback from the Royal College of my application. I not share that, unfortunately. That there is some sensitive information in that as well. So they actually have evaluated it very extensively. So they have commented on each and every piece of evidence, and that what is a high quality evidence and basic. They commented or that is a good evidence, and that is a so that's why I'm stressing on those pieces of evidence, that when I'm telling you that is a very good piece of evidence, so I'm telling you with my experience, which the feedback I have received from the college and GMC.
Okay. So
next question. Are you done, Kulsum?
So just one more thing, that like you mean to say that this is not a strong evidence?
I mean, so basically they will be looking at.
Because you know why? Because the same consultant is looking is like supervising me. For example, for the last 4 nights, I am doing nights with him or her, or during the long days she's with me. But I got a safeguarding assessment. I sent a safeguarding. Meanwhile, I sent some communication or procedure. I checked their capabilities as well, and she signed, but didn't mention those that in the comment apart from safeguarding.
Yeah. So basically, what GMC will be looking at I mean, what you have written, and what reflection or feedback the assessor has provided.
Okay.
So if they just write short, non-specific comments like good.
Yeah.
So that is okay. As compared to assessment in which your colleague has provided very detail on each and everything, every aspect of your assessment what you have done.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can only guess that. I don't know how did they take my application and my things and the evidence I have provided. I don't know how they see it, but obviously, if somebody write complete details, that will be better than just writing good or good. So one more thing is that when your assessor write that further reflection needed, and they send the assessment back to you to resend it, that does not create a bad impression, so don't consider that. So that can be used in one, in one of the domains, there was an area which says that learns from remedy and all that stuff. I forgot. So you can use 1 or 2 of that kind of assessments as well, which we usually try to hide it because the assessor has not given good comments. So that is signifying your ability to reflect and learn, basically.
But last thing is that by summarizing your whole presentation, although you did very well, so I would say if I might be able to do most of the stuff from my portfolio, what I feel today, I don't know, I'm right or wrong.
Very good. No, you can. Yeah. So are you asking or?
I'm asking as well and telling as well. I don't know. You correct me, please.
No. So yeah. So portfolio. Why I'm saying portfolio? Because portfolio. One thing is that it has been assessed by another person, which is usually a senior. So that carries more authenticity. Although I will tell you in the next slide that each and every piece of your evidence, all the 1,000 pages, are going to be verified again.
Okay.
Yeah. So portfolio is a good piece of evidence because it has been assessed already, and it is comparable to the CCT trainees because they use the same thing. So if you want, you see the tickets or the assessment which the junior doctor send you, the F2 and GB, know, S1 and SC3. So see, even if it is the case of a viral illness, so the other day I was showing it to my colleagues. So one of the junior doctor who is just an F2, she saw a case of viral illness with me and she wrote a reflection of 1.5 pages. I don't know how can one write that much information. So, but that is good. So, I mean, that is good in a way that that is what these people want.
Yeah.
So, but portfolio is a good piece of evidence, but keep a variety of different things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. It's very helpful.
Hannah is the next one to ask question, please.
So I was asking about triangulation of the evidence. Are you coming to that point? Or?
Yes. So triangulation is basically the same thing, which I've just mentioned, to get the evidence from different resources. For example, you are keeping a log of the patient, and you are also having a portfolio assessment of this for the same assessment. And for example, if you are you have done a child protection report and you have also done a CBD of the same patient for a safeguarding CBD. So triangulation is basically it's a collection of evidence from different resources. So just don't give them only logs or only procedure, give them different pieces of evidence such as letters or certificates or reflections, logs. So different formats, basically. That is triangulation.
So it mean that I can use the same patient and I can use different types of documents in here, like reflective note, case report, safeguarding report.
Yes. So what I used to do when I'm doing a safeguarding report, so I also send the consultant safeguarding CBD as well, because that cut your effort down. So anyway, it's a long process of doing a safeguarding report. So you can use that in communication as well. And this, for the same patient, you can take a safeguarding report as well, or you can use that as a doc discussion of correspondence, the same document you are using in that. And you can also do an assessment with your consultant, a safeguarding CBD. So that is triangulation basically. So other examples could be, for example, you have resuscitated a sick neonate in the theater or wherever, and you have done endotracheal intubation, and you have done a UVC, and then you started a patient on ventilator, and then you talk to the parents. So for the same patient, you have done a lot of things. So you can use a DOPS of ETT, you can use a DOPS of UVC, you can use a communication letter or a log for talking to patients or end of life care or whatever, or withdrawing your resuscitation. Or you can also send assessment of ACAT to your consultant or senior that you have done the acute care management of a sick patient, right from the start to the end. So that is basically multiple, what you can say is multiple source evidence taking from multiple resources in different formats. That is triangulation. So don't just fill your application in a simple plain way. Is that?
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's I want to know.
Ahmed, is Ahmed?
Yes. Yeah, a quick question. Just wanted to ask about domain one. You mentioned certificate of good standing. So the first thing I want to know, where can I get it from the UK? And the second thing, if I got from back home, does it need verification or not?
So UK, you don't need a certificate of good standing if you are registered with a GMC. You don't need any other.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Back
Thank
home,
you.
yeah, from back home, wherever you work, you need a good standing certificate. I don't know how will you get it. Depends upon your country of work where you work. And yes, it will need a verification. It will need everything will need a verification.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Zainab.
Thank you, Waqas. So my understanding, they want to see the breadth and depth of, experience in pediatric. And let's say if I started my application, can I collect in a clustered evidence on a short time period instead of showing the evidence across last 5 years? Say within 1 year, I can provide the evidence that they want. Is that applicable?
I mean, there is a no straightforward answer to that. So it has nowhere it has written that you have to collect that evidence in this much period. Now, theoretically, yes, you can collect each and everything in 1 year, and then, but it always looks good to spread your evidence to 2-3 years at least to look that to make it look good that you have been working. But I don't think so that you will be able to collect each and everything in 1 year. That is also practically not very, I mean, theoretically may be possible, practically.
So what I'm saying, Waqas, what I'm saying, let's say the last 2 years I worked in UK and I can retrieve what I can from the past, and then within 1 year, prospectively, I can collect the rest. So, but eventually the time it will show on e-portfolio. If I want to retrieve events from the past on the e-portfolio, it will show it started this year, let's say. So how is that?
No. So, okay, I'll make it simple. So at the time of your application, your evidence, whatever you are providing, should not be older than 5 years. So that's one thing.
Okay.
Number two, if you can provide the evidence of all the competencies which I have shown in the tables, these slides, then it doesn't matter that, how, I mean, it's theoretically, it's not written anywhere that you have to collect this evidence in minimum or maximum duration. As long as you are providing this evidence for all these competencies, it doesn't matter much that how much duration you have collected it, unless it should not be older than 5 years. So if you can collect it in less time, that is okay. I mean, I didn't find anywhere that it should not be. I mean, there's a limit. There's a minimum limit of that. I didn't find that anywhere.
Oh, great, thank you. And one more thing is regarding previous events. Let's say I started now and I want to retrieve from the past. Is that doable?
So if that evidence is in your portfolio, then it will stay there forever, and you can download it, even the evidence of 3 years back. So that doesn't matter. If it is not in your portfolio, even then, if it has not expired, or if it's not more than 5 years, then you can definitely use that. I hope I have answered the question. Is that what you are asking?
Okay. So next question is from Hafiz Server.
Yeah, my question is, we regularly attend MDTs. Some MDTs we are also lead as well. How we should be reflecting these MDTs and clinics while providing the evidence? Would it be a number that we are regularly leading MDT, or there must be the minutes of that MDT? And what about the clinics which we do regularly?
So your question is that, is there a minimum number for MDTs or your clinics, what you are doing?
No, like we do MDTs. Should we be providing them the minutes of every MDT we attend?
I mean, what evidence will you provide? What else you will provide as evidence? So not every MDT, what you think is good in which you are leading, which is sounding good, it's an interesting case. So you cannot dump your application. That's what we call as triangulation. So you cannot dump your application with one kind of evidence again and again and again and again. So you have to provide a variety of different things. So yes, if you are leading MDTs and if you are doing MDTs regularly, it is good, but that is only an evidence of communication or leadership. So you cannot use only MDTs or lot of MDTs that will not compensate you for in other areas. And there is no minimum number of, or there is no maximum number.
Okay, like it means we should be reflecting in our application where there was some complicated case or something that was.
No. So they need an evidence that you have been a leader in a multidisciplinary meeting. So you were the leader and you were collaborating the patient care among them. Doesn't matter whatever the case was. This is just, I am suggesting you, then if you want to choose in among different meetings, that's how you can choose it. But you need to provide the evidence. Let me see. So what does it say in MDTs? Where did that go? So you see, are you seeing the screen?
Yeah, I can
it
see
says leads MDTs and applies communication skills in a range of environments and situations with children, young people, and families, including in challenging circumstances. Okay. So MDT meeting notes demonstrating active role in leading MDT. So that is what you have to provide. Sorry. That is what you have to provide. Now you choose how you are going to provide that. So minutes of the meeting is the easiest way to do that, because that says that what happens during the meeting, what kind of professionals were involved in the meeting, and what did you do. So you are basically providing the evidence of what you have done. And you qualify for this competency, being a leader in a MDT. It doesn't matter what is what was the case, what was the individual case.
Okay.
But the minutes of the meeting should show that you are the leader in that or active role in that. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next, please. Any more questions?
I have raised my hand.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, because I'm working in a very compact unit. So we just have three consultants working in neurology. So probably most of my competencies will be signed by them. So I was just wondering if most of the competencies are signed within three consultants. Is that all right? Does it matter?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Most of my competencies have been signed by 2 or 3 consultants. So
okay.
I think it should be okay.
Yeah, and the other question I had was that I'm probably going back to India in some months, and I have some evidence that needs to be collected from 2019 if I want to make an application next year. So I was just wondering, is there anything, is there some way where we can actually authentically collect the evidence and then have them on the letterhead, or do we need work-based assessment, CBD from India? How do we do that?
No. So if you read all the specialty specific guidance and other documents, they say that they acknowledge the fact that other countries outside UK, they don't work in a similar way of learning. So this learning, portfolio-based learning or supervised learning is particular to UK, Ireland, and some other countries. So they acknowledge this fact, and they don't expect you or ask you to give a work-based assessment evidence for even for your retrospective experience. Now think you see that how can you collect evidence from your country back, your previous work. So whether it should be a DOP or whatever you can get. But I know back home we don't work, we don't do these assessments because we don't maintain a portfolio. So what are you going to take from India?
Probably there are some cases, and then we have done most of the neurophysiological procedures there, and case-based discussions, and mainly the presentations which I have done there, and seminars and many MDTs which I attended. So
if you can get the evidence, so for example, if the presentations will be there, if you can get that will be very good. If anyone has maintained a record of the meetings, doesn't matter if it is manual on paper or not on computer, that is, you can use that as an evidence as well. If you have done any publications or posters or any teachings back home, you can use that as an evidence. But whatever is in the written form, you can use that as an evidence. So and if it's not more than 5 years from the date of your submission.
Okay, yeah, because most of them I have written myself, and I have taken pictures of those things, so I have data.
You can use that. You can use that. So what happened? I'm going to show you in the next slide. So this evidence you have to give. Okay, I will talk about that when we move to the next slide, because that is another
okay, no problem.
Thing which we need to discuss. Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I have another question, please?
Yeah.
Actually, I moved to UK. Yeah.
I cannot see the screen. So Jamil, is Jamil there or has left already?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So go on.
Yeah, my question is like, I am working in this specialty oncology for last 5 years. In between, for 6 months, I worked as a medical consultant. It was my relocation from Pakistan to England. What that 6 months will be counted as? Either it will be considered just a gap, or how that will be counted?
Sorry, I didn't understand. So during that 6 months, were you working or you not working?
I was working as a medical consultant.
Yeah, so that is okay.
So he was working in a different specialty, because
no, that also doesn't matter much as long as you are giving a competency. Now you have to read your own specialty specific guidance of, I don't know anything about oncology, but for 6 months, if you are in a different specialty, and some of the, for example, if you have done a publication there, for example, if you have done an audit there, so they will be assessing that ability, so that you can use that evidence in the quality improvement domain. You can use research domain. So that is so some of the evidence is actually non-specific. So as long as it is signifying, coming into that domain, and you can provide the evidence of that particular competency, it's fine. But again, as I say, I don't know about anything outside pediatrics, so you have to
I think they should better email GMC on this, because as you said, that some of the evidence may be generic or basic, like not specialty specific, but GMC probably would be the right person to answer this question correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all? So 6 participants.
I have got one question, but to be honest with you, I'm very happy for you to continue, and then we can ask all the questions at the end, because I don't want to interrupt the line of thoughts and my other colleagues as well.
Can I interrupt if it's okay?
Okay. Yeah.
I know it might be like unrealistic questions, but if there is any way that before we submit the application will be reviewed by a colleague or someone?
You can ask one of your consultant colleagues. So I suggest you all who are working or planning to work on their applications to get a supervisor who will be reviewing your applications, or you need to have a mentor or a supervisor anyway. So just doing everything on your own will probably lead you nowhere. So get a mentor, get a supervisor, and discuss these things with them. But I don't know of a service which can which is active and actively reviewing the application of the candidates. Probably we can start that as a future project with Dr. Sadia, and we can think of that doing in the future.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wakwas. I hope I got the pronunciation. My name is Chinonya Ike. I want to know if you've been working in a particular specialty for a long time, for like say 3 years, and you've not really been into the general pediatrics. Will it be more appropriate to apply for CESR in general pediatrics or in the subspecialty where you've been working for some time?
So I would suggest that, apply in a specialty where you are working in. So that way it's easy to, already the process is so complex and complicated. It's not an easy process. Even if you are working in the specialty which you have been working all your life, still the process is not easy. It's quite complicated. So if you are working in a different specialty and applying in a different specialty, it will complicate the situation more. So I would not suggest that.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it's better to apply in that subspecialty where you've been working for some time and you intend to continue working.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
All right, thank you so much. But the differences, are they so much, or would there be just slight differences, or would they follow the 11 domains that you mentioned?
Sorry, I did not catch that.
Okay, I know you might not be very conversant with specific specialties, but the differences between applying in general pediatrics and applying in subspecialty, will there be a lot of differences, or can we still follow these templates and guidance that you're giving us for general pediatrics?
No, there is a specialty specific guidance on the GMC website for most of the specialties. So, what I am guiding you or suggesting you or advising you is only relevant to general pediatrics. So please don't take it as a generic thing. Or yes, you can use some of the things which, as I mentioned earlier, can be non-specific and can be used in other specialties. But what we are talking today is only about general pediatrics. So I would suggest, if you for subspecialties, you contact GMC. That's the safest advice I can give.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations.
We previously discussed that subspecialty CESR is a bit more complex. It's not as straightforward as general pediatric CESR. So yeah, GMC and the Royal College RCPCH is probably the right people to answer that question. If someone wants to get to the SAS committee, yeah, they can actually contact the SAS committee administrator, Charlotte Hughes. The email address is on the website, so we can look into this further, please. Thank you.
Even CESR in general pediatrics is very complicated. It's not straightforward. So it took me years to understand what they actually want. So we will complicate it further if we think about working in one specialty and applying for a different. So that is too complicated. So I think we will stick to the specialty which we are working in. All right, next.
Just one question. I promise it won't be more than one question. Okay. So in terms of anonymized court reports, that has always been my grouse.
Yeah.
Let's say that you've never been involved in any court case, but you've attended a lot of webinars, paid courses. You've gone for like a mock course where you went to court. Are those things that you can evidence, or do you definitely have to have
So there is no harm in submitting whatever you have. The maximum thing is they will reject your evidence or not consider it as good as it should be. So there is whatever you have, submit it. But you need to have a court. I mean, it is advisable. So if you are not involved yet, so get yourself. That's why I'm telling you to make folders in your laptop so that you can reflect that what you have and what you have not, and keep work. So try and start working from there. So don't just non-specifically collecting, filling your portfolio with CBDs and an MSF and DOPS. So reflect on what you don't have and try to get that. I mean, at the end, if you, for example, I was telling you, even after trying at the maximum, I could not get involved in a case of Sudik, that sudden and unexpected death. But they still accepted my application. So if you are generally thorough and provide evidence of almost all of the other things, one or two things I guess can be omitted.
Okay, it's just that unless, of course, you have been directly involved in a case that takes you to court, isn't it? Then you may not get that opportunity where you go to court after all. So
you can actually, you know, almost every other safeguarding case, there is an opportunity to go to the court, and you can volunteer as well. I mean, you can be, you can have a small role. For example, you just, you know, saw this patient and referred to another colleague, but still you have a role in that. So,
okay.
So it doesn't necessarily that you have been the main safeguarding lead or anything like that. So,
so let's
some
go
role.
for safeguard friends. You know, there are kind of situations where you have the police, you have everyone involved, and you are discussing this. They still wouldn't make up for not going to court, isn't it?
No, so that's what I'm saying. So no, that is that you can use that as evidence, medical legal thing. So that's what I'm opening that slide now.
Okay.
So if you see the first thing, an anonymized medical reports or witness statement. So witness statement is also one thing, in which you don't have to go to the court, but you give your statement. That can be in a safeguarding case, or that can be in a case in which a patient has died, or that can be in a case in, you know, for example, a HIE in baby. So we are opening the investigation and asking you that what has happened that day. So you can give your statement that you were registrar or an SHO or whatever, and then you did this, and then you passed on to the next shift. So even that involvement is an involvement. So what you are giving evidence of is that you know the medical legal bits of things, and you know what to give as a witness statement. So you should not hide fact, and you should be unbalanced in your opinion. You're only providing the facts and not the, what do you call that? Interpretation of facts. So you don't have to interpret the facts, you have to present the facts only. So that is what you are providing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, next, please, if there is any.
I raise my hand if that's okay. It's Yasmin. Congratulations, Dr. Wakas, for your achievement. But I just wanted to comment on two things and ask one question. Because I have attended the recent meeting the GMC ran, and I think what you have done so far, it's really great. And we don't need to, what I need to comment is we don't need to provide each evidence mentioned in the table. So you can see that they said the evidence you can provide, but you don't need to provide everything. So maybe you can choose one or two or three from each evidence they showed you in the table, but you don't need to provide each point with each evidence. This is the first thing. The second thing is when you apply for subspecialty, the effort is the same as when you apply for general pediatrics. So not each equal. So the same process, the same, but it's just different evidence, the different way of how you provide the evidence. The I would just suggest, because we have like subspecialty groups, like as trainee, for example, if you are applying for, because I am applying for pediatric oncology, for example, so they have like special group, like a trainee they run, and they do like subspecialty CESR application. So if anyone interested, they just need to go and ask trainees if they have any special group, so they can maybe join. My question is, I know that we are run out of time, but I think it would be very helpful if you can show us how you uploaded your evidence to the application. And this is actually very important when we organize our evidence, how you did it, how you put things in the online application. That's the most important bit, which we really actually struggle rather than going through the document. It's already provided by the GMC. So if we can't do that today, would you mind to do other session to show us?
Yeah, so that is the so that is the next slide. I will move to that if there's no further questions until now. If there are no more questions, is Dr. Sadia there? Or I think
yes, I'm here. Yeah.
Are there any questions in the chat box, Dr. Sadia? Or
no, as far as most of them are already answered.
Okay.
It's just there was one more that about details about authentication and verification of evidence. So
coming on
through those things, yeah.
All right, okay. Oh yes, now I can open the chat box and it's all full. Okay. Yeah, I'm just quickly skimming through the chat box, if that's okay.
Yeah, you can have a look.
So how to get a copy of incident report once submitted on online system? So when you submit an incident report, you will get an email of that. That's what happened in our hospital and most of the hospital. It good clinical practice CBD necessary for research. Yes, I did that. It's only 4 hours e-learning, so it's very easy to get. How to collect evidence before starting an application? So that is also under clinical. Please give the customer and. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to the last part of the application now, which is how to submit your application. Okay, so this is the application. You will see this screen. So you will see this screen. Can everybody see that? Yeah.
Yes, we can see that.
So this screen you will see, and they will when you start your application, the first thing is usual will ask you about your specialty details and your qualification details and your professional experience, which you will write. Then you have to write referee details. So there are 4 referees you need. So there are at least 4 referees. One of them should be a primary referee who is most probably a supervisor or your mentor and is working in your institution currently. And other 3 could be the same hospital or previous hospital you are working with it. So these referees will give structured reports of all these 11 domains. So the GM, when you write your referee details and email address and contact numbers, so the email from the GMC will go to all these referees with a structural report per forma, which contains all that how are you a doctor, how good you are a doctor according to these domains, and that your referees will write comments on that. So you will not be able to see that. I have not been able to see that after that. So, but obviously, you know your referee, so you will choose those referees who will write good for you. So one thing is that, and that is not just a routine, non-specific referral letter or sorry, reference letter. That is quite a structured, good structured report, which includes the comments on all of your areas, which we have talked about. How is your communication? How are you liked by the colleagues and the parents, team working, leadership, management, professional knowledge, research, so everything. So that is a very important, because all the the evaluation and feedback I have received from the Royal College, it contains individual comments on each domain with the structured reports on the referees. Then the next step is this registration and licensing. So you have to provide, that is a just formality that you have to provide, that each country you have been working was according to the medical ethics. You were not unregistered with the licensing authority of that country. So you have to provide good standing and they will verify that. And then comes the evidence summary, which is the most important part. So I will come to that in the next slide, but after, suppose, imagine you have uploaded all your evidence on the application, then it will go to the verified details. So verified details is separate from referee details. They may or may not be the same person. So you have to fill 4 or whatever number of hospitals you have worked in. So you have to fill a performa, 1 each for each hospital. And then you have to write on that performa that which person will be verifying that evidence you have uploaded is true. And on that performa, that is easily available on the GMC website. I don't have it now. That performa is, you will write the details of all the evidence you have given from that hospital, including the number of pages. That is very important, because anything which is not on the performa but in the application will not be entertained. So if you are uploading an evidence on your application and not writing on the performa, that means is that the GMC will not consider it as a as an evidence. So write, for example, if you have worked in 3 hospitals, so you need 3 performas and identify a person who can verify those evidences, because the GMC will send this performa along with the pages of those evidence to that person, and that person, the GMC will ask to create a GMC Connect account. So they will share all those evidence to that Connect account, and that person will see that evidence and verify that, yes, I know this evidence is true. So I verify that, I can confirm that. So if there are, that's why I'm telling that try to limit the number of institutions, because that is also a headache. So if there are 3 hospitals, 4 hospitals, so any number of hospitals, so that many numbers of performa. So each and every part of your evidence will be verified. So then you give final declaration, the second last thing, where you write that what I'm saying is true to whatever my knowledge and whatever that the usual thing you do. And the last is the payment, which is around £1,700. So, and then your application will be submitted. Now, in all these steps, the main thing is your evidence summary. So when you keep doing these steps, a green tick will appear. And if the step is incomplete, the tick will not appear. So that's how you will see your online application. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is how the next page will appear when you open the what is called that evidence summary part. These domains will appear. So curriculum domain 1, curriculum domain 2, curriculum domain 3, as you're seeing. Is that visible to all? Can you all see that?
Yes, yes.
So this
Yes.
this screen will appear and you will start one by one adding your training and qualifications, and you'll add details of your post and duties, your CV. So that has to be correct. Then one by one each domain. When you click this plus sign, this box will open, which I have showed you already in my previous slides. So, you know, each domain one by one with the competencies they want and the evidence you can provide. Okay, so then domain 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the last is verification of the evidence. Is that clear up till now? So
yes,
so you will go through each one of them. You plus the click this plus sign, and when you click the plus sign, he will ask you to upload your evidence, whatever you have. And there will be a box to write comments on that, that what is this evidence and are you using it for? You are using it for communication or whatever, and which hospital it belongs to, and which date, what was the date. So one by one, you will upload all the evidence, all the files in their respective areas. Now, one important thing is that you cannot and you should not upload, you should not duplicate your evidence. So if you think that one evidence can be used in other domain as well, so in the comment box, you can write that this is the evidence for this domain, but you can use this evidence in that particular domain. So for example, if you are using it for safeguarding, for example, you are putting a safeguarding report in domain 9 here, you can also write that this evidence can also be used for communication in domain 2. But you cannot upload the same file again and again. So upload one file once. Okay, that is important. So once you have done all this, and then the next page will appear, which I showed you in the previous slide, and then submit your application. And what happens next after submitting the application is a long wait. So after for the next 2-3 months, nothing will happen. After 2-3 months, GMC will contact you that we have received your application. Thank you very much for applying. And they will tell you about the next steps, what they will be doing. So the first step they will be doing is to write to your referees that are you this candidate referees or not. And after, they will not send anything else till that point, when they will just verify that their availability. So when they will verify that yes, they are your referee, the next step is to verify your evidence. So they will do their initial screening, which includes any file which has empty pages or rotated pages, or something which they cannot read, or something which has been duplicated. They will return all this evidence to you, back to you. So they do that. They will do this thing after 3 or 4 months after submitting the application, and they will send you an email that you can go back to your application, and because we have done some initial checks, and these are the measures you need to take, which include these non-technical things. Basically, they will not comment on the quality or quantity. They will on the technical things like rotated pages or duplicated pages or blank pages, and they will also comment on that this evidence which you have submitted is contains patient-sensitive information, so that was not acceptable. So they will not take that evidence as acceptable. So after that, what happens? So they will send you with all the recommendations what you need to do. So you will do that in the next whatever time frame they will give you, that you have 6 weeks or whatever weeks to correct all this. So you will again edit your file. So that's why you may have to resubscribe the software again. which I told you earlier, that you need a software to edit your data. So you correct according to their recommendation, all the evidence, and then resubmit the application. This is basically not resubmitting. It's you will tell them that I have done and you can check it now. So the next step is that they will check that again, that everything is okay, the same thing. And after another 6 to 8 weeks, they will send you another email that, okay, now we have accepted your evidence. So before that they can be a multiple to and fro between you and GMC, that this evidence is acceptable, this is not acceptable. So some of them is more older than 5 years, some contains patient sensitive information, some contains duplicated files. So all these kind of things they keep sending you, and then you have. Oh, one more thing, they ask you to group similar evidence in one file. For example, if you have 5 excellence reports, so you cannot upload it as excellence report 1, 2, 3. So you have to combine that into one file, which you can do that through the Adobe Acrobat or any other software. So that should be grouped into one file. And you have, for example, you have 20 clinic letters. So don't upload it like 1, 2, 3, 4 separately. They will reject that. They will ask you to group that into one file. So when you do that, and the second time, if they have no objection, they will say that, okay, now your evidence has accepted, and we will send this evidence to your referees to verify it. And so they will contact all your referees. That again takes good few weeks time, because there's an online thing. They have a GMC Connect thing, which they share the evidence, and all the verifiers accept or reject that. One important thing is that be very careful about the verification pro forma, because whatever is not on the verification pro forma but in the application, that will be rejected. Then there will be a process. They will ask your referees. So please, I'm telling it again and again, the referees are different from verifiers. They may be the same, but there are 2 different steps. So referees, they will ask you to provide 4 structured reports, so 1 each from each referee. And GMC has that report is also available on the GMC website. So they will send this structured report to your referees and ask them to comment on these diseases, and your referee will comment on that and send back to the GMC. Now, finally, when everything will be done, they will send you an email that, okay, we have now completed the evaluation of your application. It is complete. And now we will send it to the Royal College. So GMC task is only to make sure that the evidence is authentic, verifiable, and true. GMC will not make any comment on the quality, that what you need to do. So then they will send the application to the Royal College. They will compile it in the form of pages, and they make an index like a book. And then Royal College will evaluate it over whatever time. And they are really stretched these days because of the lack of assessors. And after, they say that it takes 5 weeks, but for me, it takes many months for them to come back to me. But although it has successful in first attempt. So then the Royal College will at the end say that, okay, we have completed your evaluation, and send back it to the GMC, and the GMC will then give you the good or bad news that your application is successful, or it needs these remediation, or it is rejected straight away, or whatever the result will be. So that's the thing. That's the whole process. 1 second. How do I'm trying to go back. So that's all. You can start your questions, but I cannot go back to my. I'm not very good in computers, actually.
Because I have a few questions.
Yeah, okay.
So one is my understanding was verifier and referee is same, but according to you, is saying that is different.
So you try to understand what I'm trying to say. These are two different processes.
Okay.
One is reference and one is verification. So referees and verifiers may or may not be the same. For example, you have taken a referee of your current workplace, 2 or 3 referees, and you have given their verification also, because they will verify your evidence. Okay. But in some other hospital, you have asked a person to verify the evidence, but not to give you the reference, because for reference you already have a referee. So they may or may not be the same, but these are two separate processes which happens in stepwise or parallel to each other. So referees will provide a structural report for you, and verifiers will verify the evidence for you. For example, I have 4 referees, 3 of them from UK. So all of them provided structured report for me, but for verification, I only choose one of them. You got my point, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
it's
they
clear
need
now.
they need only one verifier per hospital.
The another question is when you go for a verification from a consultant, what my understanding, I was preparing my application evidence to be verified. So I was printing all my portfolios, DOP, CBDs, and these things. So there needs an like a pro forma for each institution for verification. So that pro forma also write that rota. Do I need all the rotas of all 1 year of rota, or only one rota provided should be enough?
Sorry, I did not understand. So what are you trying to say? Yeah.
Pro forma, there is a pro forma for each institution.
Okay, so yes, that's what I'm
I
telling
need to submit to the verifier. So there is that pro forma also include rota. It's written the rota, but not specified what is.
So there are a lot of things written on that performer, but you cannot provide each and every evidence. So some sections will be empty of I can say that. So but whatever you are providing, what evidence you are uploading onto the application, that needs to go to the performer. And when you will write on the performer, that performer will be specific to one verifier. And all evidence related to that hospital will go only to that verifier. So you can, what I'm trying to say, that you need one verifier per hospital. So all your evidence, so choose very right person who can verify all of your evidence. That is very important. So you can, for example, you have choose 3 or 4 referees from the hospital, but all of them cannot be the verifier. So one hospital evidence, one hospital, one referee. Sorry, one hospital, one verifier. So one hospital can have multiple referees, but one hospital can have only one verifier who can verify all of your evidence.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you.
Oh, what did I do? Sorry. Am I still visible?
Yes. So, Waqas, just quickly regarding the rotation schedule, should I redact my colleague's name?
Sorry.
For duties, schedule for duties. Should I redact? Should I redact my?
Yeah, I've redacted each and everything, to be honest. I could not take because when GMC send you that this information is sensitive and you have to send it back, they take weeks to respond you to again. So for example, if there is one mistake and you are correcting that, and then you easily take, 4 weeks, another 4 weeks, and then don't give them any chance to, raise an objection.
Thank you.
Dr. Waqas?
Yes.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much. Although I did not join full, but yeah. So when you say that clinic letters, I have to compress in one file and then upload it. So in the clinic letters, there is confidentiality, no? Patient name.
Yeah, you have to redact everything. So that's what I'm saying. I have that slide. Where did that go? One second, I'm opening it again. because I accidentally closed that presentation. So yes, so if you see this slide, can you see that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what happens after the application? Oh, sorry, no, not this one. I think I missed that. So yeah, so this when I told you in the start that these are the 3 steps for to handling the evidence: collection, compilation, and submission. So when you compile the evidence, which means that you need to group that similar evidence into one folder or one file, yeah, and
Okay.
you have to anonymize all the patient and colleague identifiable data. That is the most difficult part of that. That takes hours to redact all the patient.
Yeah, it will be like X, right? X, my patient X is admitted with this complaint.
Okay, I'll 1 second. I'll show you. I'll try to find a letter which does not contain.
No, I can understand how you did that, but my question is then it will come back to my consultant. Then my consultant, how my consultant will know that which patient I am talking about?
Yeah, so that is the point. So if you have done a clinic letter, so clinic letter is usually not a false thing. So there is a letterhead and everything on that. Isn't it?
Yeah, you are right. Evidence, reference number. Yeah, very clever.
They can
Reference number also need to be deducted.
No. Reference number also you need to be deducted. That
Oh,
should
then
not be verifiable. Yeah, but you can show all this evidence to your supervisor before submitting the application.
Yeah.
And
Like
yeah,
five letter. Yeah.
yeah, so I suggest that you go sit with your supervisor or mentor or consultant because you have to give one primary referee who is your mentor. So you show them all your evidence that you are going to submit, so that you will be okay to verify it.
You are very right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dr. Wakas, if you quickly, I know you are very tired and it's very late, I know, but if you quickly just in 1 minute, how can we, at the beginning, can you show us on your account how you start application?
Okay.
GMC, yeah, from your account, just a quick.
My application has closed now. It's not there on my account, but I'm trying to find because I show you the screenshots of that.
Yeah.
So it will be the same thing which will appear. So
okay.
Let me. So that's how it will appear.
Yeah.
That's how it will appear. You first put all your details, your professional experience, and please don't write any false details in your dates because that will be verifiable as well. So dates and everything should be, so don't write anything false in the GMC. That is my advice. That's an universal advice for anything. Then you put your referee details, they will ask for 4 referee and they will ask you for your contact number, dates, how long you have been working with them. Then you provide your registration details in other countries which you have been working. They will verify with their licensing authority. For example, your previous country which you have been working. So they will verify that like a certificate of good standing. Then you will come to your evidence summary. And when you click on the evidence summary, the next slide will open, and then you go to the verified details, upload all the 4 performers or whatever hospital you have worked in, and then you find payment, and then all these green tick appears. Now, when you click on this evidence summary, this slide will appear.
No, this I understood, but in GMC website, when I went, okay, there is a general, I am fully registered as a general registration. I'm not registered as a specialist.
I was also registered as a general up till 1 week ago. So
yeah. No, I know. I could not find where to start the CESR, I'm very much dumb person.
Okay, I'll show you one thing that I can show. So 1 second. Can you still see my screen?
It is like, yeah, coming a little slow. I mean, 1 second after, yeah.
Okay.